Sorry, chap. Hold on. Gotta finish this YMS video. Okay, got it. There we go. It's the Barbenheimer review. I had to see it because otherwise I wouldn't have seen it. But I wanted to see it, which is why I paused. I stopped the stream. What's up? Yo, yo. You were just watching something? Yes, I was watching YMS. Friend of the stream. YMS. Adam. YMS. Yes, I got a haircut and beard trim. Finally. Truth, Anna. You're forcing me to watch something else? I'm so sorry. Hey, do you guys want to see something cute? Okay, I don't want to show the whole picture because I feel like I look disgusting because this was taken at like 6 a.m. in a dark room with a camera flash. But while I was half sleeping, both Vermin and Conyer wandered into my room because they saw from the crack in the open door that Ruben, like Pigeon has in times before, was using my head as a pillow. That he was just laying on it. This was one of the later photos after he'd woken up, but he was like rolling around on top of my head. So I got like no sleep, basically, because he kept he kept waking me up. Where's your headboard? I don't have a headboard. You look like a corpse. Dude, I'm a pasty white dude, and it's a dark room with camera flash photography, okay? There's no way to look good in that situation. Unless you have like 4% body fat and it's just a shot of your muscles or whatever. Why don't you close your door then? Because if I close my door all the way, the cats can't come in. If you have cats in your house, you have to have your bedroom doors open at least a little bit, because otherwise they're gonna zoom around, you know? No headboard. Yeah, I wish I had a headboard, but at this point I've just gotten so used to not having one. They'll destroy that door too. Yeah. Yeah, cats hate closed doors. Yeah, if you close the door, they'll just scream outside the door and wake you up anyway. Like, there's no... You don't win in that situation. This is also the first time I've seen my back in a while, and I have such an insanely hairy back, dude. What the fuck? Oh my god. It's all, like, near my shoulders. It's because I grew up near, Persians. Well, you have a hairy chest? Yeah, it also looks especially hairy because of the flash. Okay, do you guys want to see the full the truth unveiled? Nah, I don't think you guys are ready. I will show you this one picture though. Look. It's cropped in, see? Look at the fucking pose he's taking. What the fuck is he doing? How is he sleeping against me? Little vampire baby. Yeah. Look at his big feet. Look at his big toes. Look how big they are. So cute. It looks like a fish you'd see 20,000 leagues under the sea. I love him. He's very cute. He was zooming around earlier, scratching up my chest because he would like run up my leg and up my chest onto my shoulder. Cute baby. How y'all doing? So what's going on? Well, this is a politics stream, and my name is Vosh. Well, my YouTube name is Vosh, and we talk about politics here. Is the main thing that we mostly do. DeSantis condemned for saying he would, quote, start slitting throats in the federal bureaucracy on his first day of power if elected president. Man, it doesn't even matter, dude. Like, there is a 0% chance that he becomes president. It is so over. Also, I don't think... So, one of the things that's going to, like, really start to hurt the GOP is the fact that you can't... You have to be really careful when you're going after the federal bureaucracy, you know? The executive administrative system is very powerful, and it's not. Yeah, the president of the National Treasury Employees Union, Tony Reardon, called the hardline Republican. Yeah, it's this is the problem with bureaucracies, right? And this isn't just me like going, ha ha, stupid Republican, you lose, you ticked off the Department of Justice. Like, this is an actual like issue with bureaucracies, and it's that the first thing every bureaucracy does, the main thing it exists to do, is protect itself and to grow. They're like cancerous tumors, you know. Administrative states, bureaucracies, do not shrink themselves. They don't. That's not a thing they do. They eat up every bit of the budget that they're given, because if they don't, they lose it next year. They ask for more and argue for more because there's always somebody with a new idea, but they don't take away money, funding, or projects, because there are like legacy systems tied to the stuff they already have going on, or people with a lot of power and prestige and connections who are tied to those projects who don't want to see them fail. And everyone has connections to everyone, so nothing gets like cut down. It is really tough to cut down the federal bureaucracy. This is just like a conceptual problem. Bureaucracies are necessary, but they're also really dangerous. So if your goal is to go after them, you have to be smart about it. And it is not smart to say, yeah, when I'm president, I'm just gonna I'm gonna kill all the federal bureaucrats. The administrative state that runs the entire country, I'm just gonna get them. Get. Yeah, like that's not. It's a very low IQ. You know. Yes, the bureaucracy will expand to meet the expanding needs of the bureaucracy. Exactly. This would sound so funny coming from DeSantis's nasally voice. Yeah. There is just no shot. There is just no shot for DeSantis. Hello. Here, meet the culprit. Behold, the one who wants to slit the throats of the administrative state, and also who kept me up last night because he was using my head as a bed. Because he was being my hat. Ooh, wiggly are we? Oh, we're so wiggly today. We're so wiggly today. Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so sharp. You're so sharp and wiggly. Oh my god. What? I gotta trim his nails. Is he already fixed? No. He'll get that soon though. Yes, he's very orange today. Oh man, links? 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 EPA approved a fuel ingredient even though it could cause cancer in virtually every person exposed over a lifetime. Okay, let's find out more. EPA document shows that a new Chevron fuel ingredient has a lifetime cancer risk more than 1 million times higher what the agency usually finds acceptable, even greater than another Chevron fuel sky-high risk disclosed earlier this year. Okay, all right. Okay. Interesting. A component of boat fuel made from discarded plastic the agency's own risk formula determined was so hazardous everyone exposed to the substance continually over a lifetime would be expected to develop cancer. Okay. 1 million times higher than what the agency usually considers acceptable for new chemicals, and 6 times worse than the risk of lung cancer from a lifetime of smoking. All right. The agency did not conduct safety reviews. Instead, the EPA decided its scientists were overstating the risks and gave Chevron the go-ahead to make the new boat fuel ingredient at its refinery in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Well, there you go, folks. The administrative state really is dangerous. So, why? The lifetime cancer risk from breathing air pollution that comes from the boat engine burning the fuel, that calculation, when confirmed by the EPA, came out to 1.3 in 1, meaning every person exposed to it over the course of a full lifetime would be expected to get cancer. Is there a reason we decided to forego the regular process this time? Any reason? When asked why it didn't include those sky-high risks in the consent order, the EPA acknowledged having made a mistake. Okay. I don't understand. Money, it all comes back to money. I know it always comes back to money, but I'm not sure if I understand why they would make this specific exemption, you know? Like, obviously it always comes back to moneyed interest, but why this, you know? Why be lax in this specific regard? This is very strange. I feel like there's more to this story that's not being written about in this article. The reason I stopped reading this is because I realized that it was quite long and complicated. Um, I'm not... The best... Okay, so it seems like the scientists who worked on this and the EPA side were clear about the risks. And then the EPA administrators were like, no, 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 not a big deal. No worries. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. And now that it's facing a lot of scrutiny, they're trying to, like, hide the extent to which they skipped their own rules. The only explanation that I can really think of for this would be that the people who skipped on by the regular testing procedures and safety procedures have some kind of vested interest in this specific product making it to market, as opposed to, like, any of the other things they go through. But that's a little bit obvious and unsubtle. Like, hey, let me bribe you on this one thing, but not everything else we get put through. It's very strange. Yeah, yeah. No, Os, I think you might be correct. A bad case of corruption that went too far. Like, this might have been something that Chevron was excited about, and they were hoping to do a little bit of corruption, you know, like skip over the numbers a little bit, play things a little bit towards Chevron's favor, but then it ended up being much, much worse than they thought. So what would have been like a little skip in Chevron's favor ended up being a gigantic skip in Chevron's favor, one that's really, really, really difficult to overlook. That's a guess. I don't know that for sure, but it's not like regulatory capture is a new or unheard of thing. Huh. What's this carcinogen called? I don't know, but apparently this boat fuel includes in part recycled plastic, derived from plastic. Hmm. I guess we'll see. I'm interested in seeing if there's any more to this. What's this? Andrew Tate's house arrest has been lifted. The pair can move freely around the capital, Bucharest, and the surrounding Ilfov district where they live. They must report to police when ordered to and inform them of any change in address. They're also banned from contacting the two Romanian associates accused alongside them. The witnesses are the alleged victims of the family. All right. People online will probably treat this like it's a exoneration of Andrew Tate, but it's not. All it means is that the prosecutors and the police have worked out enough stuff on their end that they feel confident Andrew Tate can move around without risking, like, flight, you know? As in, they've monitored his contacts, his his accounts, his finances. They've got enough of a hold on it that they don't think he's going to skedaddle. At least that seems like the most likely explanation. They're not going to hold him on house arrest for like 2 years while waiting for everything. Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. Does the trial still continue? Yeah, yeah, yeah. He hasn't been exonerated of the charges or anything. When's the trial start? We don't know. Takes a while. Also, it's Romania. Keep that in mind. Posadas John, in America, trials can take years to start. You know that, right? Pentagon hit by critical compromise of U.S. Air Force communications report. Whoa! Forbes reports claim that engineer at Arnold Air Force Base in Tennessee had taken home government radio technologies. Okay. Somebody's going to go to Gitmo. What government radio technologies? The equipment allegedly taken by the engineer cost nearly $90,000. When law enforcement agents searched his home, they found he had unauthorized administrator access to radio communication technology used by Air Education and Training Command. Huh. Why? The software contained the entire Arnold Air Force Base communication system. Why? Are we a spy? Are we a nutcase? What are we doing? The warrant also recounted how witnesses and coworkers informed investigators the engineer had allegedly, quote, sold radios and radio equipment, worked odd hours, was arrogant, frequently lied, displayed inappropriate workplace behavior, sexual harassment, had financial problems, and possessed Arnold Air Force Base land mobile radio equipment. Okay, he's not a spy, he's a nutcase. He's a goofy goober, it seems. Just you know, weird dude who's now going to jail. Big boy jail. He's been charged under the Espionage Act. No, no, no. Oh, no, sorry. That was the Discord leak. Sorry. I skipped over a few paragraphs there. That's the Discord leaks, not the guy who stole the air equipment. All right. Doesn't seem like a massive deal. Stuff like this happens decently often. Two U.S. Navy sailors accused of passing secrets to China. There we go. There are the spies. That's what I'm talking about. Two sailors arrested Wednesday in separate cases and accused of passing sensitive national defense info and military secrets to Chinese agents in exchange for money. They allegedly sent a blueprint for a radar system, technical manuals for vessels, operational plans for military exercises in the Indo-Pacific, and details of defensive weapons to Chinese intel officers, the Justice Department said. Attorneys for the two sailors could not be immediately reached for comment Thursday afternoon. Huh. These arrests are a reminder of the relentless, aggressive efforts of the People's Republic of China to undermine our democracy and threaten those who defend it. Suzanne Turner, Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division, said in a statement. The PRC compromised enlisted personnel to secure sensitive information that could seriously jeopardize U.S. national security. Nice. Prompting Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to postpone a trip to Beijing in February. Whoop. Oh, sorry, that was because of the spy balloon. I gotta stop skipping sentences. Every time I skip a sentence, that's the point when the article decides to jump to another comparative topic, and then I conflate the two. Not the most effective speed reading tactic, I'll admit. Oh, look, they mentioned the Discord leaks here as well, so if I'd skipped the entire paragraph rather than a sentence, I would have made the same mistake as the last one. Well, they're going to Gitmo. In terms of like intel leaks to China, I feel like there's reason to be concerned about like cybersecurity stuff, but in terms of actual military hardware, I really, really, really do not think that China is interested in any kind of hot war with the United States. You know, even like sabotage. I just don't think it's on the table necessarily. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll hit a big red button that'll turn off all of our like water systems or something. That'd be bad. The tech is still valuable. Yeah, though the biggest issue with other countries compared to the United States is even if they had the technology that we do, which they don't really have like the economic ability to match our production. Nobody spends as much in their military as we do. Ukraine took out another Russian ship using drones. Based. Man, we're getting all the military news today, huh? Anger in China over plan to use cities as moat to save Beijing from floods. What? Use cities as moat. You mean you mean lower elevation portions of the city? What do you mean? Other flood hit areas near Beijing, like Zhuzhou, should be used as a moat for the capital. Ah, okay. So they're basically, yeah, sacrifice cities, basically. This is a classic China move. Well, do they have a better option? I mean, like, having this city flood rather than, like, Beijing is probably a better idea, right? Not for the people there, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I see the email, Dino Man. The girl I have over overheard you as she was cooking bacon. Do you want to layer that on a little more? The smart engineer programmer girl I had over who was sucking my dick while cooking bacon heard you and said that she used to do R&D for Tesla. She said you're dead wrong. Chinese hackers were a huge issue. No, that's what I said. I said cybersecurity is like a valid thing to be concerned about, but not like literal military sabotage. You know, I don't think that's as likely of an outcome. Yeah, my shirtless wife. Uh, in comments published on, is it Zhu Zhao? I think it's Zhu Zhao because the first one is UO and the second one is OU. So Zhu Zhao, official WeChat channel, Ni vowed to use flood storage in detention areas to reduce the pressure on Beijing and, quote, resolutely serve as a moat for the capital. Okay, I'll admit, that's not the best way to phrase. We salute the people of Zhujiao and their glorious purpose of diverting floodwater from Beijing, sacrificing themselves for the good of the motherland. Yeah. Xi calls on you. Yes, if the Three Georges Dam goes, the entirety of China floods. Great stuff. That's good, not Anna Kasparian. The second syllable is Joe, not Zhao. Zhu Zhou? Okay. I just think that Beijing looks really expensive, and I can understand them not wanting it to be flooded. You know? Imagine being the janitor after flooding here. Like, what the fuck? Like, oh, yeah, man. Sorry, a bunch of water got in. Can you, like, mop it up? I don't know. Time for a raise. In China? That picture is fake? Well, it's been color corrected, but what it's depicting isn't. There's a lot of wacky shit in China. There we go. There's another angle. I mean, it's a cool building, no? An earthquake can take this down, no? Probably not. I mean, I have to assume that they built it to earthquake standards. I mean, that'd be pretty silly if they didn't. The Chinese doing capitalism better than us? I don't know about that. Oh, quota. China's just a big country. Not every province in China is equally subject to the sort of cultural and political practices of the CCP. I don't think they're liberated. I just think that they're not as directly controlled. It's not a fully totalitarian country. This is the fancy part of Beijing, though. Most of it looks like a slum. To be fair, not too different from Los Angeles. It's always good to have a nice personal comparison. You know, it's like Los Angeles, a city of unimaginable wealth, but about 90% of it, if you're just driving around, is fucking poor and ugly, you know? Here, no shade to the chick in this photo, just one that I found off Google Images, but a whole bunch of Los Angeles, maybe even like half of it, looks like this. The street, it's a residential street that's a mile wide, cracked, hasn't been repaved in ages, and all the houses are just like crammed single family houses that probably cost like $5 to build. Oh man, I'm getting flashbacks to my youth. Los Angeles poor area, aka most of it. This isn't even like that's the Westlake Theater. This isn't even like super out of the way or whatever. This is like a major area. Even in places where wealthy people are frequently. Like that's 7th Street right there, you know? It's still poor enough in most of it like it's all yeah, classic stuff. It's really ugly, Vermin. Yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, I'll get to a Rodzilla 2K. People gave me a bunch of links to go through. I love going through the links, then we do the stuff that I had planned. I love that shit. Oh, nice, then I can spare you. As a New Jersey raised gal, LA is nothing like New Jersey, it's worse. Well, I haven't been to New Jersey, so I can't really say, but LA is pretty bad, man. You are extremely quiet, like half the volume. Am I extremely quiet? I'm in the red on OBS. How am I extremely quiet? I can barely hear him. Then turn me up. Jesus. Oh my god. Hmm. That's true, Vermin. I could. I hate that when you Google LA Chinatown, you see like the one part of it that everyone goes to on purpose, but not all of the horrible, desolate, factory choked wasteland parts that are all over it, you know? Ah, there we go. Ah. Home sweet home. Look at that. Oh, you can see the LA River, the artificial river used to divert water flow because so much of the city is concrete that there's not enough dirt to absorb the water. That's what I like to see. Look at that. Just whole square miles with not a single plant. Chinatown somewhere here. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Do gardens not exist in LA? Well, that's a factory district, so no, not there. But also, yeah, just not a lot of greenery. All right, let me see if I can find one more ugly photo of my hometown, then we'll move on. Ugh. Ugh. This is what I'm talking about, man. It's the Infinity City. Not because it's the biggest city on Earth, but because it's so, like, indistinguishably bleak, that it just stretches endlessly with no, like, distinctive characteristics. No topography separates it or breaks it up. There's no neighborhood. The closest thing you can find to a neighborhood distinction in Los Angeles is when the freeway cuts the black people and the white people neighborhoods off. I'd kill myself if I had to live like that. It's not great, yeah. I think those are the mountains, right? So, no, the mountains should be over here. Well, wait. No, those are the mountains, which means that we're viewing it from, like, the southeast. So I should have grown up somewhere over here where it's a little bit nicer. Yeah. Go to lefty source? What? We asked post-Soviet leftists what the Western left is getting wrong in Ukraine. The world has changed. We can no longer understand a unipolar framework to understand it. Wait, did I just misread this? We can no longer use a unipolar framework. Okay, wait, I just misread that. I don't know how I misread it in the way I did. But okay. Sorry. I was confused for a second. That wasn't even like a sensible misread. We can no longer use a unipolar framework to understand. Wait, this is bullshit. First of all, this is right after the invasion, so I don't know why you linked it. Second of all, the invasion of Ukraine is more evidence than ever before that we do live in a unipolar system. If you want to challenge unipolarity, it's via China, not Russia. Like, oh man, dude, check out how Russia, which used to be one of the world's superpowers, can't even invade a neighboring country that didn't have a standing army less than a decade ago. Wow, look at how multipolar the world is. Wow, with 5% of the American military budget, we're capable of giving Ukraine weapons capable of holding off the gigantic Russian army. Wow, look at how multipolar the world is. Like, no. China is the argument for global multipolarity, not Russia. Anyway, what is all this? It doesn't matter. My opinions are right. Because many Western leftists are anti-establishment, I wonder if they must see some value in what Russia is doing. Dude, Hitler is challenging Western hegemony, all right? By supporting Japan in the Pacific, something that the West could never do. They're actually supporting global multipolarity far more than Western powers. What the fuck are you talking about? Nah, this is bullshit. Fascists twisting their tongue into pretzels, trying to justify why it's okay for a fascist country to invade a liberal democracy. A lot of links today, man. The meat of the article seems legit. It doesn't matter. What is this? Just opinions of idiots? I don't care. There's only one good opinion on this whole. I am like a fucking solipsist when it comes to the Ukraine war at this. But I like the likelihood of finding a leftist with a good take on fascist country invades liberal democracy is like 0%. It's like it hasn't gotten much better, you know. It's so bad. Yeah, reading is bourgeois and reactionary. Thank you. Isn't the article agreeing with you? It doesn't matter. I didn't read it. I can be angry if I don't read it. Yeah, we saw Zany Zane. Are you hip on the IK99 news? Not really on the specifics, but I'm glad good stuff is happening. What is this? Breaking points? I can't do breaking points, man. We just did Crystal with the shit-ass Barbie review.
Let's move on to...
When will black voters fall in line? Okay, so this is them being mad that black people are going to vote for Biden and not for Cornel West? Okay, gotcha. I think you could make a reasonable argument that Joseph R. Robinette Biden is blacker than Cornel West anyway, because Cornel West will inadvertently bring about the rise of white Christian nationalism in the country by promoting third-party voting, which is consequentially not very black at all. Whereas Biden, the greatest civil rights hero since MLK Jr., actually seeks to do the opposite. So, I feel like if you actually math it out, if you people like to do their race math off a napkin, but if you actually sit down and punch in the numbers in a proper calculator, I think you come to the conclusion that Joe Biden is the blacker candidate. So I don't care to look at that. Okay, now this is too many links. UAW demands 46% pay hike in talks with Detroit 3 automakers. 46%. Based. About 150,000 workers, union based in Detroit, that makes Chevrolets, Fords, and Jeeps, and more calls for 20% severe impact of inflation. After that, the union demands a 5% wage increase every September through the life of the agreement through 2027. Based. Oh, man. Can we just stop making American cars? Can we just stop? Can we stop pretending that we have like any kind of manufacturing base in this country and shift entirely to what God clearly intends for us, which is being a country of nothing but stock portfolios, Starbucks baristas, and stripy Nissan programmers. That's clearly the only thing that America is good at doing. You know, our cars fucking suck compared to the Japanese or whatever. So we might as well accept. We might as well accept it, I think. What about missiles? Yeah, I guess we can make weapons too. Detroit has already suffered enough, please, Nova. Don't worry, okay? I and a bunch of other white millennials will enter Detroit and set up a bunch of barcades, and in doing so, we will fix the problems caused by white flight and by the hollowing out of the manufacturing industry. This I promise. Yeah, we're gonna Portlandify Detroit. That's what the black inner city community needs after decades and decades of economic deprivation. CNBC's Jim Cramer raises alarm over UAW's President Sean Fain. I find him frightening. Oh no.
I want you to compare the labor negotiations here to the ones in auto, where I think there's going to be a strike, and I think it's going to be horrible.
Based.
You're making that call
September
today?
14. I think they're going to strike. Sean Fain, the guy who runs.
Does anyone else feel like Jim Cramer is slowly shifting into a deep sea fish? Does anyone else feel like this would be the last thing you see before a glint of light from your flashlight catches the eyes of some sort of like undersea predator before its jaw expands and consumes you whole?
The UAW. I find him frightening.
And Teamsters UPS didn't give you
any
fucking
Innsmouth
Teamsters turned
citizen.
out to be get a good deal. Teamsters historically very powerful union, rich union.
We don't take kindly to strangers around here.
But the UAW leader,
the UAW is gonna strike.
Was a contested,
That's
very
no
contested
good.
Between the company, the union that wants to work with the autos together to try to preserve some jobs and give the elder people a good pay, and then this man, Sean, who is just talking about capitalism and the nature of
this guy, Sean Fain, don't like him. Don't like the cut of his jib. Get him out of here. Sorry.
capitalism and how it's really hurt workers this is very Walter Reuther language. It's it's the kind of.
I don't like how this union leader is talking about capitalism and how it's hurt workers. Jim Cramer, listen, okay? Unions are one thing. Striking, okay, you know, fine. But identifying the system causing these problems? No. That's ridiculous. That's class warfare.
Language that when we had in this country, we'll take you down if you don't play ball. That's the language I'm hearing from UAW. Yep. And look, I mean, it's the kind of language where you just say, you know what, we should have built all our EVs in Mexico. It's that bad. I don't think people are paying enough attention. The man is, I'm not saying he's irrational. I'm saying he was elected in order to make it so that there's a very short week to find benefit back. And then the notion that we're fat cats.
Is he okay, so the substance of his criticism is literally, I don't like that this union boss is representing the workers. He's literally saying, like, you can't do that. You can't rep the workers and talk about capitalism.
Shareholders are fat cats and have been
no, not that. Oh, God. Not the idea that shareholders are fat cats. What an extremist position to take.
Rewarded. We haven't seen this. That's class warfare.
That's class warfare. That's class warfare. We don't take kindly to systemic analysis around here, stranger. Get out of town. Fat cat. Wouldn't you rather talk about fat fish? Oh, no. Not the poor, greedy union boss saying that the shareholders are greedy. Oh, no. I like how once you get past, like, okay, guys, this is actually so indicative, okay? This is why the Republicans focus nonstop on culture war bullshit. Because if they didn't, this would be all they could talk about, and they would get 1% of the vote every election, okay? Most Americans, and by most I mean basically all, okay, are naturally repulsed by this because most Americans belong to the working class and just don't like seeing a wealthy guy in a suit on TV talk about how these greedy union workers are trying to take money from poor shareholders. Most of like even right-wingers. It's not like right-wingers trust financial institutions, you know? One of the big talking points for the right has been about like how Obama didn't properly punish the people responsible for the 2008 financial crash. Now, obviously, Republican politicians don't actually do anything to rein in the fat cats, of course. But the people, you know, the people do not like this kind of talk. So that's why in order for Republicans to banty about their pro-corporate agenda, they have to abstract it through all of the culture war horse shit.
Very shocking to hear class warfare.
I remember Jim Cramer a while ago who lamented the shift from capital to labor. I'm sorry, from labor to capital over the last 30 years.
Well, I always felt that the middle class benefited from unions. I've been a union member, twice union member, and I always felt that you could work together and everybody would do well. I never felt that we had to destroy the people that we were fighting. I helped. I was part of a J.P. Stevens. It was at one point a great textile company. Stoppage, tried to block them, and they went under. And I've always regretted that I was part of that.
Yeah,
because
there's this weird revisionist narrative that like fat cat apologizers will try to push, where they try to promote the idea that the purpose of a union is to work together with the corporate leadership. No, not even a little bit. Their job is the opposite of that, actually. Working together with them would be collaborationism, which if they were just working together, why would you have the union to begin with? The only reason, well, not the only, but the major reason that unions exist is so that if you don't play ball and do what the workers want, they can strike and fuck you over. That is the whole point. It's like people who say, look, I like unions, but I don't like the strikes. There was an actor who said that recently, who got a lot of shit for it. If you don't support strikes, you don't support unions. That's the whole point. The whole point of a union is to set up an apparatus for collective bargaining, and the only way to bargain is if there's an implied threat if your end of the deal isn't met. That's how bargains work, right? Like you bargain to buy something, and they don't get the money unless you're satisfied with the bargain that you arrive at. So the whole point of the union is to set up a structure that allows for striking. Zach Levitt, was it Zach Levitt? I don't know. The Green Arrow actor, that's right. He was like, I support the union, but not the strike, which means you don't support the union.
JP Stevens, we didn't want them to go under. We wanted them to, it was like Bond. Do you want me to? We just wanted them to talk. We didn't want them to die. And so I'm always very reluctant to see a union.
Is this man evil? Should we hate him? Yes. And yes. As much of a meme lord as he is, yes.
And use such language that makes it feel like that it's zero sum. But I am pro-union because the unions, in the way that Ronald Reagan was pro-union.
Vosh, I partially disagree. Fuck you. Vosh, I partially disagree with your perspective. Most right-wing working class people are inherently opposed to greedy, wealthy people because they're only concerned with social conservatism. Okay, so there's an ideological dissonance here with conservatives, where on one hand, okay, so this is really common with conservatives, okay? Conservatives will believe that wealthy people worked really hard to get their way on up, right? And that we live in a meritocracy. But also, conservatives will say stuff like, men in jeans built this country, men in suits destroyed it. And they'll talk about how, like, the financial enterprises are all run by, like, crony capitalists and, like, super corrupt people. There's an inconsistency here, and it's like an actual doublethink, right? Like, they have two contradictory beliefs. But in my experience, even though most Republicans will defend capitalism as an idea, or even oppose unions as an idea, they're still innately repulsed by the archetype of, like, the greedy fat cat who sucks up all the money and excess value of the work beneath him. I think a good example of this would be Dilbert. I was a big fan of the 90s Dilbert comics, before Scott Adams lost his entire fucking gourd. But I like the comics quite a lot, and a lot of them I think were clever at times. Some of the arcs, certainly. Like, the underlying thread of Dilbert, and keep in mind that Scott Adams, the person who made Dilbert, is a fascist, okay? The underlying thread of Dilbert is that, like, all the people on top are greedy idiots who constantly fuck over the more competent workers beneath them. It's not exactly class analysis, but I think it's representative of an underlying kind of innate antagonism that workers feel for the bourgeoisie. Which is in our class interest to do so, right? I say we as though I'm like a proletarian worker, the way that like an office worker would be. We could only hope. Spare me when the revolution comes. Anyway, I think the whole point of social issues and like culture war dynamics is to distract from this, right? That's why Ronald Reagan would use like racially targeted language. Not just Reagan, a lot of them would, but like use racially targeted language as a way of stripping workers' rights, You guys know about the like welfare queen thing? The welfare queen, this was like a big boogeyman, from the 80s onward. And like the image of a welfare queen was like a black woman with 6 kids who drove around in a Lamborghini and ate lobster every day because the government gave her so much money just for existing. Does this woman exist? No. That's completely insane. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't afford even a tiny portion of this but like conservatives would talk about it like it was a real thing, and they used racially evocative language and terminology in order to get like the average Republican voter all stirred up, like black people taking our money. But fundamentally, taking away welfare benefits hits everyone, right? Not just black people, it hits all poor people. Like it's not like there's a separate welfare system for white and black. Like if you're cutting welfare benefits, like that affects everyone who's poor. So it's using the social issues as a euphemism for going after class stuff. In many cases, not in all. Plenty of stuff is deliberately racially targeted, but in many cases. I just think that peeling back that abstraction, getting rid of the culture war shit, and just listening to somebody like Jim Cramer go, they're calling shareholders fat cats. We don't take kindly to language like that, stranger. Like, I don't think workers care for that kind of language, in my opinion. Like I said, it's an inconsistency, Hungamaster, but I do think there's something underlying that.
It's like, you want people to do well, and you don't want people to have no health care. I mean, unions can be good, but this is toxic. It's very toxic. It's
very, very toxic. Threatening to strike, the one thing that unions can do to get what they want. It's very toxic. Yeah, I'm a union kind of guy, like Reagan unions. Like the guy who killed unions. Yeah, I'm that kind of guy. Stephen Amell wishes his comments about the strike stayed private. He said them during a panel at a convention. Does anyone have that clip? The clip of him saying that? I fucking hate therapy speak. Yeah, it's very toxic. It's very gaslighty. I feel gaslit. Is this it? This is not it. This
a
is
new
not
piece in
That's not the link. That's Anna Kasparian. No, nobody has the link? Okay. I'll find it. That's fine. Green Arrow actor strike comments. Is it? Oh god. Why? Why not include the clip? Jesus Christ. Here's the link. Thank you.
I support my union. I do, and I stand with them. I do not support striking. I don't. I think that is a...
I don't think this guy is like an evil corporate shill or whatever. I just don't think he's thought about this very much. To be fair, this isn't like Jim Cramer where he's like some like sinister decades-long advocate for a given political... Like, I just don't think he's thought about this, you know?
A reductive negotiating tactic. And I find the entire thing incredibly...
It is especially funny that this would be done by the actor who plays the Green Arrow, though, considering the Green Arrow, in many interpretations, is either a communist or a socialist, or at the very least, a hardline social democrat.
Frustrating, and I think that the thinking as it pertains to shows like the show that I'm on...
Yeah, he voted against the strike, like, but I don't think...
Woo! I think that it is, I think it's myopic. And I stand with my union.
Yeah, I just think he's being an idiot. I don't think there's much else to analyze about this. He's a scab, and even his co-stars disliked him during the show. Well... He's trying to be non-confrontational. Yeah, but you should be confrontational. That's the whole point of being in a union. Oh, yeah, I saw this. Rest in peace, my dude. Hector has passed away. Damn, that fucking sucks. I mean, he's super old, so, like, that tracks, but still. Yeah, I thought he died at the end of season 4. I didn't realize he'd survived that part. More than 100 film and television credits. I find this quite heartening personally, man, because he's been doing acting for a really long time, and the role that he, at least to my knowledge, has been most celebrated for and most known for happened like in the tail end of his life, you know? Like, that's pretty cool, I think. I'm glad that he can have like a lifetime of acting, and then he's like 75, and then like the whole world knows who he is. I think that's great. That there's like a lot of, yeah. It's a shame he couldn't nail a speaking role. I'm sorry. Yeah. Did you see Joe Rogan go full retard in January 6th and voter fraud? Yes, he was always going to go conspiracy brain on this. Joe Rogan is a cynical asshole and an idiot who is biased in part to whatever he last heard, and in part to whatever best satisfies his conspiracy-addled idiot base of followers, right? Obviously, he was going to slide towards that. Like, nobody really takes him seriously except in the IDW and the right. And I guess, like, some fringe liberal stuff, but, like, even that, not so much. Wait, he's a Brooklyn Jew? Really? Huh. Cool. Wait, who? Him. Mark Margolis. No, not Joe Rogan. Him. Yeah, he can't speak Spanish. He looks really Hispanic. Well, you know, that's a lot of variety there, I suppose, you know. Although he had well more than 100 film and television credits, Margolis found the staying power of his performance as Tio surprising. I can't get down a street 50 feet without taking a picture or signing an autograph. I was just supposed to be on for one episode, he said in the same 2013 interview. After the second season, I didn't know anyone who knew the show, but after the third season, it just blew up. That is really nice. Oh, he was in Scarface? Holy shit. That's dope. In a sit-down interview with his Better Call Saul co-star Jonathan Banks last year, he said of his craft, "The wonderful thing about it is I used to be so shy I didn't even talk. I was closed off. It liberates me. It gives me things, allows me to do things I could never do in my life. I love it very much." That's lovely. Yes, he did an excellent job. So it's, you know, it's very, very deserved, the public and a positive reception. Yeah, lived a long life, so. Alberto the Shadow and Scarface. I actually haven't seen Scarface, so I wouldn't recognize him from it. Just never got around to it. And Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, no less. Oh, well, I have seen that. Anyway. Yeah, I want to watch Scarface. I'm not opposed to watching Scarface. I just haven't gotten around to it. He's like opposite Oscar Isaac, because Oscar keeps getting Middle Eastern roles while being Latino. Ah. Wasn't Ace Ventura transphobic? Yes. Many such cases, I'm afraid. There's more? How long did he go on this ramble, man? Is Silence of the Lambs transphobic? Look, Lindsay Ellis or somebody made videos on this. Go watch the Lindsay Ellis video before she left YouTube.
Which, I mean, you were looking for any signal of labor peace.
Well, you want labor war? Take a look at the things that Sean Fain is saying
about
autos. I mean, he's talking about a work week that's incredibly short. He's talking about going back to defined benefit. He's basically talking about that class that I had about the Spartacus Workers League and how Marx was wrong because Marx felt that there should be some capitalism. Only the workers belong. This man.
Excuse me? What?
Was wrong because Marx felt that there should be some capitalism. Only the workers belong. This man studied Trotsky.
What? What the fuck is he talking about? I like how this guy is like, yeah, I want to avoid class war. I just want collaborationism. I want us all to get along. And then one union boss is like, yeah, we might strike because we're all dying and starving over here. And he's like, Marx was wrong. This is just like the Spartacus League. We're back in the Weimar Republic. Rosa Luxemburg is about to get shot in the back of the head again. Like, is it like this guy's like flashing back like he's some kind of time-traveling class warrior where he shows up at every fucking proletarian event. Like, Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Jesus.
I gotta tell you, studied Trotsky before pre-ice-picking era.
You think some of the weakness this morning is about reading UAW
honestly, I'm reading the guy.
Over Fitch?
Walter Reuther, now Walter Reuther seems like he's a man of peace. It is, I have to tell you that if this guy, if Sean Fain, who is the UAW head, if he gets his way, you can short every single auto company until the cows come home. They will be the least competitive companies on earth. There are companies in France right now who are saying, holy cow, what are we doing working Wednesday and Thursday? Why can't we be like Ford Motor?
Well, they presented.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's so true. Workers over in France are like, man, I wish we had the workplace benefits and hours of American auto workers. That's a real thing that is definitely happening. That's true. France, famous for its extremely harsh worker culture compared to the United States. Hold on, where's that big chart of like vacation days per country? Mandatory vacation days by country. Is it vacation days, or am I thinking of like paternity leave days? There we go. Statutory minimum paid leave in public holidays in 2016. Days of annual leave in public holidays. America gets no guaranteed days of annual leave. None. We're like the only we're not only like the only country in the developed world that's like this. Mexico has more. Like, there are countries that are significantly poorer than us. All we have are public holidays. So, like, what? Like, average hours worked? Hold on. Average hours worked, France. As I understand it, the French don't work. I could be completely wrong on this, but my impression of the French is that they show up at 8 a.m. and then they take an 8-hour cigarette break and then they go back home. France has an average working hour per week of 38.7 hours, so a bit less than 40 hours a week. And then over in America, 38.7. Interesting. So it's actually exactly the same as France. Oh, okay. I have no idea what he's basing these comments on for, like, French auto workers wish they had it as easy as American auto workers, famously a well-treated demographic. Yeah, the French work as many hours per week as Americans, but the French also get like 3 times as much time off, and they get paternity and maternity leave, and they get like better worker protections, and they get some degree of public health care, and they get like, it's like on every level, you know?
To GM today.
It must stop. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
honestly, this is not capitalism, all right? It's not capitalism. It's some other form. I took 7 courses on communism.
France pays out overtime after 32 hours a week, if I recall correctly. Really? France overtime cutoff. No, it's 35. It's not 32, it's 35. But still, that's still a whole 5 hours earlier than it would be for America, and that can add up to quite a lot. Working time in France, overtime should be paid at an increased rate, 125 or 150%. But yeah, no, that adds up to a lot, like significant difference. What did I miss?
All right, it's not capitalism. It's some other form. I took 7 courses on communism at Harvard because I was in a particularly bad period at Harvard.
What? I had a dark few months after my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was just chain attending communism courses.
There should be an 8th course, Sean Fain, and what he had to do with Engels. It was Marx and Engels and Fain.
We're going to watch it, that contract.
I actually really like these clips from Jim Cramer because I do genuinely feel like this is an authentic representation of the mind of a wealthy person, or the like sycophants of wealthy people, where the moment their class interests are threatened even remotely, they freak out and turn into like this hysterical, pearl-clutching, fainting couch lunatic who starts screeching about like every like key word they have associated with communism in their head. It's very classic, you know. It's very like old school robber baron aristocrat, I feel. For somebody to be looking down on a bunch of striking workers from like the penthouse floor of their factory / condo, and be like fanning themselves while screaming about the, you know, the corruption and the denigration of Engels or whatever. He looks like an undercooked chicken. He looks like a fish. He looks like a fish. Got him by the short hairs. We got to clean these links, or we're never going to get to talk about men.
Was the
I'm done.
No, I'm done. Yeah, this is where I was like, I'm done filming because I realized kind of what had happened. They didn't tell me she had a panic attack. They didn't tell me anything.
But they knew all of it.
Yeah, I just almost accepted the abuse and the exploitation because I found Danielle.
I didn't at all expect what actually went down and what happened, which was quite a bit more psychological torture, manipulation, and just basically exploitation.
We're really bearing the lead here. What is this about?
Which there was no way to prepare for that.
A lawsuit was the last thing that I wanted. This is the last place I saw myself being when I started this process.
They are in control of every element of your life.
Who's
You're
that?
put in a hotel room and you don't have a key.
Okay, the thing here said that it was about reality TV stars joining the SAG-AFTRA strike. But I thought that it would open with narration where they're like, we're talking to these people today, but they're not doing that, so they're just like cold opening with this?
You don't have access to water unless you want to drink it out of the faucet or the shower. We're all just sitting there, not being fed on any kind of...
Wait, what? Isn't the faucet where you get water from? Wait, what do you mean? Isn't that where you get water from? Water to drink? Yeah, from the faucet? They mean like no fountains or water bottles? If they're doing reality TV, couldn't they just get water from the... It could be unfiltered? They couldn't get, not straight from the... What? Okay. From a faucet, actual savages. Sorry, guys. I live in a part of the world where the drinking water is drinkable. All right? Sorry if you live in Flint, Michigan, or fucking Bangladesh, or wherever you degenerates are from, okay? But if I want to get a drink of water, I can get it from the faucet. I have a fridge that hooks up to the water line, so I can get it from the fridge, but I didn't before, and when I wanted water before, I would simply get it from the faucet. It's just water. It's just water. Okay, whatever.
kind of regular cadence, but definitely being fed a lot of alcohol. My body was just exhausted and dehydrated and hungry.
There's 3 blueberries. Eat them sparingly.
I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks from the pods in Mexico.
Oh, they're in Mexico? Okay, never mind. Yeah, they need to filter the water probably.
At my suit, I had that thing tailored like the week before coming. And
like a perfect fit, right?
Like a perfect fit, yeah.
No, it's like your first suit out of undergrad, right? You just go to Macy's and pick
up whatever's on sale.
We didn't have any autonomy at all.
Hey!
Not only did they take our phones, they took our wallets, they took our IDs, they took our passports, all in the same
instance. They're talking about the bad conditions at a reality TV show. Shut up. I don't really care about reality TV stars. They're workers too.
Without telling us ahead of time this was going to happen.
And we were filming 18 to 20 hours a day. The only time we weren't being filmed was when the union crews swapped out for a new crew because they had met their maximum for the day.
You never see daylight unless you're allowed to use the bathroom, which is a trailer outside. They keep you in the state where you really have no idea how much time has transpired.
Oh, like a
It's
casino.
one of those things where, looking back on it, if someone told me it was a month, I might have believed them.
When Danielle and I were in Mexico, she got sick with a stomach issue. They came in with this COVID protocol and gave Danielle a COVID test, which she was negative. And then they said, well, due to protocol, you might still turn positive within the next 24 hours, so we can't film you the rest of the day. Which was the day of the couples reveal party, which is where all the couples get together for the first time with Nick and Vanessa Lachey, and everybody meets together for the first time. So I went for 2
I'm very sorry. I thought this would be a little bit more like generalized about reality TV shows. This is very specific. Yeah, reality TV show stars are often treated quite poorly. They're just kind of thrown into the content box and they press the content button. Yeah, but I thought this would be more generalized. This is like hyper specific. But it's getting a lot of traction, 1.3 million views. Yeah, it is worth caring about, you know. So keep watching. I'm worried about DMCA stuff. What is this? Oh, I heard about this. Apparently, there was like an incident at the Tim Pool Timcast Studios place.
I didn't try to cuss the Queen. I know, but okay, the Queen's cool. I swear to God, bro. I'm not even trying. I know, but I mean, the Queen is best friends with Jimmy Savile. I mean, I swear to God, bro. No. Hey. I didn't try to cuss the Queen. I know, but okay, the Queen's cool.
Apparently, the guy with the towel or whatever, this guy, I don't know, faked being mad and went for a rifle on the wall, and then a bodyguard pulled out a gun, and then the VOD got deleted. I don't really know. Ozzy I saw it the first few times it was linked. Isn't that the one weirdo who harassed AOC? Yes. The what's his guy, Alex Stein, seems like he's pivoting into being like gonzo harassment conservative journalism or whatever. Like his future is going to be just like approaching people with blue hair and screaming like tranny in their face, and if they get upset, he films it and then he'll comment over it being like, look at how mad they got, and that's it really. There's not like anything there. He was almost arrested at a Taco Bell 5 days ago for doing that, exactly that. Really? Oh, I saw that clip. Yeah, he literally just like went up to a woman and started harassing her and was filming it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to find a link. Don't bother. I'm not going to go over it. I find Alex Stein way too punchable to find entertaining to watch for any purpose. Wait, does Tim Pool actually keep guns out in the open? You don't? Didn't you debate him, Alex Stein? Yes, I did. Yeah, we found out he's a closeted gay. What is this?
HuffPost delves into the many struggles facing Justice Democrats, the progressive group that endorses progressive candidates and gets quite a few people elected, at least in the past. The ladies of the squad are Justice Democrats. Jamal Bowman is another example of a Justice Democrat. But right now it seems that the left-wing coalition is disintegrating, unfortunately, and progressives have different ideas on how to rebuild it. So I'm gonna give you a few excerpts, and Cenk is also quoted in the piece. But before we get to Cenk's quote, first the details on the Justice Democrats. Just over 6 years since its founding, Justice Democrats' opposition is more organized while its mission is more muddled and its coffers depleted. Faced with a shortage of funds, the group laid off 9 of its 20 staff members in mid-July, a move that took many prominent progressives by surprise.
I'm not that surprised by this, because contrary to what a lot of people think, the environment where progressives do best is not when we're being faced with like far-right opposition. The environment in which progressives do best is when the problems that we face are unambiguously the fault of like neoliberal governance and incompetence, because that way it's really easy to point the finger at them. The problem is that like right now, the most important thing to do in American politics is to fight the fascists. And that is equally the case if you're a liberal, progressive, socialist, or communist. So exactly. The political climate currently favors liberalism because it's seen as a safe and proven alternative to fascism, as opposed to like, fascism is facing us down. Let's put our faith in this like new, like radical progressive worker. Well, so that's public perception. I'm not saying I agree with that. Obviously, I fully support the progressive line, but to a lot of voters, they're gonna think of it as another unnecessary risk.
And they seem to be returning their main focus back to electoral politics and away from advocacy on policy. Except it should be noted that the Justice Democrats have not yet announced any endorsements of primary challengers, of candidates in open seats, and that is a stark change from what they did previously. Previously, like the whole point is to primary corporate Democrats in Congress, and they, again, have yet to endorse any new candidates. And
there's not really a wedge to get them on right now, right? Like, think about it. Before there was Black Lives Matter, because during Black Lives Matter, progressives had the front seat, Like, it was the progressive Democrats and the progressive activists who were the loudest and most prominent during BLM because it was like an advocacy movement. Excuse me. And then there's like Medicare for All, but nobody talks about Medicare for All. Dude, Medicare for All is so cooked, It got talked about in 2016, and then like it faded away, and now like the fascists are here, and it's such a big deal. And, we're not even going to get a public option. We're all going to go bankrupt from a medical problem. Like, that's it, That's all we get.
I'm curious.
Hey, CJ, I saw that link the first 4 times. Everyone, please remember, I see your links when you first post them. You don't need to repost them. If I ignore them, it's for a reason. Like, I'm not going... Like, if you describe a link, here's Kyle doing a soy boy for Orb Mommy over AOC, I don't care.
You think about that, Jake?
Yeah, look, when we started Just Democrats...
Contrary to what some of you people think, Kyle Kulinski is not and probably never will be an enemy of this channel, okay? I like Kyle. And I like Marianne Williamson, too.
Yes, we started Just Democrats. And by we, I mean both me and the co-founders like Sharkat Chakrabarti and yes, Kyle Kulinski and Zach Exley. But also we, as in you guys, the audience, you gave literally millions of dollars to start this group. And we launched it here on the Young Turks. And we were all very clear. You have to challenge the establishment. That's the whole point of this organization. And in the first cycle, we ran 78 races. Zach's original idea, he's one of the co-founders, was to run 435 or 535 races if we could, right? Now that was too ambitious, but I loved him for it, and it was the right way of thinking about it. And then we only won 4 out of the 78, but normally you get a lot of ha-ha out of that. Oh, your winning record's not that good, your winning percentage, etc. But that was a hell of a 4. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley, and they made a giant difference in the beginning, right? So we were going in the right direction, but then the organization, for some reason, started worrying about their winning percentage, and then they started running less and less people, and they started running them in only super blue districts because they thought that was more winnable. That's fair. It is more winnable in super blue districts.
I'm kind of torn on this because I think there's a good argument to be made for what Cenk is saying, and I think there's an argument to be made against it. On one hand, I do think a gigantic scattershot approach is important because the DNC does basically no work or outreach in red states or in like a lot of contested districts that could potentially go blue, but they don't put in the effort because they don't have like the on the ground infrastructure or the energy, and like all the consultants are from fucking New York City. So, like imagine a DNC consultant from New York City trying to plan out strategy for getting a candidate to like win an election in some like potentially swing district in Alabama, and they're like grimacing as they go down there and talking to people. Yeah, there's this contemptuous like coastal elite bullshit really fucks them over when it comes to dealing with areas like that, middle America, that kind of stuff. So I get that argument. At the same time, I did see people giving the Justice Dems a lot of shit for their low winning percentage early on. It is possible that like by doing too much of a scattershot approach, you do kind of dilute the organization, both in terms of focus and funds, and you end up leading people to disrespect the org. I think the problem is that nobody really cares about the Justice Dems anymore. The Justice Dems were exciting for a while, and I still think the Justice Dems are better than your average Democrat, but the name Justice Dems does not elicit this like countercultural like I guess like attitude. It makes me wonder if the future of progressive advocacy in the Democrats is like decentralized, where you would have leaders to rally around, but not like a title to go by. Does that make any sense? Bernie Sanders did really, really well because he was a great candidate and he commanded a lot of respect, but it wasn't like the Bernie-crats were a actual group that had like funding and staff, It felt like a flash in the pan, and you can make more flashes in the pan. It's not like you can only, it's not like that might only happen once. Vosh, how did the Tea Party succeed? So the thing is, with the Tea Party, The problem is that politics work differently on the right. The right is more willing to concede to reactionary politics because it doesn't necessarily interrupt their pro-business goals. Fascists love collaborationism, but the Democrats aren't, because progressive Democrats are almost always more anti-corporate than neoliberal Democrats. So the Tea Party made a fuss and then got folded in to the Republican Party, effectively supplanting their goals and moving them rightward. You know, whereas with the Justice Dems, they kind of have to fight and scrape for every bit they get. The DNC just isn't willing to do this leftward lurch as much as I would like it that they do. So our strategy has to be a little bit different, you know? Yes, the Tea Party also has a lot of, or had a lot of money. There's always going to be more money circling around in right-wing environments because, well, you know.
But we got to scare some people in purple districts, otherwise we can't get their votes in Congress. Because the point isn't to get AOC elected or any one of these people elected. The point is to pass bills, to pass policy priorities for progressives. But along the way, both the legislators and the group, unfortunately, lost their way and they took their eyes off the prize. I have more on that in a second.
In fact, okay, so this is a perfect time to mention one of the biggest obstacles for the organization at the moment, which is fundraising. So I'm going to give you the quotes. Alexandra Rojas, who is the Justice Democrats executive director.
Yeah, Annie, I think I agree. If like your primary goal here is to win Congress, right? And you want to win Congress with enough seats that you can potentially sway policy. So maybe in the future you actually can do a kind of force the vote situation, or get cabinet appointments where you have power as progressive Democrats. And in order to do that, you don't just want to have AOC win in super ultra mega blue environments, right? You want to have like progressives win all over the country, but that's easier said than done, right? You know, I mean, I would love to see like 5 new junior Democrat progressives come in from Louisiana, but that's not, like, saying that is one thing. It doesn't mean it's really, like, you know, doable.
Director told HuffPost, quote, "We are vulnerable to sudden changes in grassroots giving. The ebbs and flows for us are bigger." Now remember, Justice Democrats, you know, they take small dollar donors, grassroots money. And this is my speculation, but you're going to get less funding from grassroots donors if they feel that you are not delivering for them. So I'm going to give you a few examples. When there are headlines about Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez voting present when she should have voted no on an extra $1 billion for Israel, right? That's on top of the funding that we already provide for Israel every single year, billions and billions of dollars. That showed a level of weakness and the willingness to honestly turn her back on the people who have supported her and promoted her and defended her as she's being attacked by corporate Democrats, right?
Yeah, I don't like this attitude. AOC has done votes that I disagree with, and I've stated that disagreement. But like, holy shit, man, we have to accept that even if we got a squad of ultra-communists in Congress, there's so much wheeling and dealing that goes on behind the scenes that they will inevitably one day vote for stuff that just seems like a betrayal of their values or whatever. Like, so many bills go through Congress and there's so much stuff that happens that we don't get any insight onto. If they're good like 95% of the time, that's set for me. You know, I don't want to like, because if you set that standard, it's like, well, fuck, you're never, like, if Bernie had won and become president, he also would have done stuff that we wouldn't have agreed with because he is the president. He's subject to interests and information that we will never know or understand. He is literally the most powerful man on earth. But if he does most things right most of the time, that's still a huge win. I don't like this attitude. That being said, it is true that AOC and other Justice Dems have to play a game where they have to appear as though they're challenging the status quo, but at the same time, they can't risk coming off too combative, or else liberal Democrat media will fold them in with the MAGA crowd as the enemy of liberty, you know? Like, I can see the MSNBC lines now, you know? In a time where our country faces great threat and peril from the MAGA crowd and anti-democracy types, AOC and the Justice Dems have opposed a Democrat bill, thus aligning with them, you know, that kind of crap. It's really, really, really difficult to manage. I do not envy AOC.
That's one example I have in mind. When they fail to, like, I mean, the latest example, in my opinion, when it comes to AOC, and I don't mean to harp on her. I've seen some failures when it comes to Justice Democrats in Congress across the board. But she just goes on Pod Save America, and without trying to get any concessions from Joe Biden, prematurely endorses him, saying, given the field, yes, I endorse Joe Biden for re-election.
And why would you do that? Look, I think Israel is an ironic example because they've actually been the toughest on the issue of Israel overall. 9 Just Democrats voted against saying that Israel is not a racist state, and they held the line even though—
I just wonder how much, like, would her have withholding her endorsement mattered when we know that's where her endorsement was going to go? There's literally no other Democrat contender, you know? Like there's no, like, that's the only real option. It seems like at that point, any withheld endorsement would have been a transparent virtue signal. Like, oh, you know, there's only one real person I can endorse, but like, let me think about it. I actually think that Biden should pass Medicare for all first. You know, I don't know how well that would play in an environment where it's so obvious how things are going to pan out in terms of Democrat support. Maybe not.
They got a lot of blowback from Washington, and all of this is nuance. And by the way, Alex Rojas was definitely part of the initial leadership team, and was a huge part of the successes that happened, and that's why she got the executive director position. Corbin Trent was an incredible part of the organization originally, et cetera, and they've done great work. Just Democrats have done great work overall. There's 11 Just Democrats in Congress when nobody thought that that was possible. Now, having said that, look, on economic issues—
why not endorse Marianne? Because Marianne isn't even trying to get ballot access. Like, Marianne is doing some advocacy work, but like, this isn't a real contender for the presidency. I think endorsing Marianne would have been irresponsible, not only because you don't want to endorse somebody who has no chance of winning at all, because that makes you look like a bad decision maker, but it also would have been kind of an insult to Joe Biden to go like, oh, you know, Joe Biden will obviously win the primary because there is no fucking primary, but like, yeah, I'll toss my endorsement over to somebody with no chance because I'm that disgusted with Joe. And while that may seem like it's playing hardball politics, it also alienates AOC from people who are really invested in Joe Biden winning. No, it is. It's like an unwinnable game, funny rhetorician. Like, but I see both sides of this because I'm a big brain enlightened centrist, like I always have been. Tim Cool. I'm like Tim Cool. I'm a centrist. There we go.
They just didn't fight. And so I don't think it's speculation at all. I think it's stone cold fact to say that you're getting less grassroots funding because you didn't deliver. And that breaks my heart because we started Just Democrats together. And I want to come out here and tell you we did deliver and we did awesome. And we did exactly what we were supposed to do. It's not we anymore. I'm not part of the group anymore. But you remember when I left the group, I backed him 100% anyway.
Sorry. Well, I have a pledge that I would like to make to all of you. So long as I am in control of this channel, I will never, ever wear a hat. What's with the hat? I'm Tim Cool.
Anyway, right? Eyes on the prize. How many times did you guys hear me say eyes on the prize? But when we had the prize and something like $15 minimum wage, I know for a fact that they chose not to fight. And they said, oh, Bernie Sanders doesn't want to fight. The legislators in the House don't want to fight. Well, who cares? Push them to fight. That's the whole point of Justice Democrats.
The Justice Dems have terrible foreign policy. Yeah, I remember this. AOC and Marjorie Taylor Greene joined forces to back doomed Gate Syria troop bill. Yeah. Man, guys, never listen to a leftist when it comes to foreign policy. As I've said before, you would legitimately have a higher likelihood of getting a good take listening to a liberal, even like an MSNBC liberal. I'm not joking. That's how bad leftists are when it comes to foreign policy. Jesus. I'm not sure, Quoteth.
If you had told me you're gonna get 11 Justice Democrats in Congress, I would be like, yes. If you told me they're not even gonna fight for $15 minimum wage, I would be like, that can't be right. That can't be right. That their paid family leave is gonna die on the table and no one's even gonna push back. I couldn't believe it. They're not even gonna fight for voting rights. And that they were gonna go with a strategy, and this one is on Pramila Jayapal. And I asked her to be a Justice Democrat personally, and now I completely regret that. Her strategy was trust Biden. How'd that work out for us? It worked out terribly. We didn't get any of our policies. The only thing we got was we got some action against climate change in the Inflation Reduction Act. But then Biden's like, hold on. It seems like I'm helping you a little bit.
Yeah, they did try to fight for the $15 an hour minimum wage. They didn't like give it. I guess like, do you guys really want progressives in Congress to be like nonstop 24/7 advocates for something, no matter the context or whether or not they have enough votes, doesn't that make them come across as really, like, politically ineffective and fucking annoying? Like, if they tried to get the $15 an hour minimum wage passed and then it didn't work, do they, like, the next day they just show up and keep screaming about it? I understand that's what the Republicans do, but I don't know if that would work with Democrats. Is that what we want? Is it just like ruthless, unyielding noise machines that don't have any kind of like bone for political strategy and will just do the thing like wind up automatons? Maybe, you know what? I don't know. Maybe that would be better. Really, maybe it would be. I genuinely don't know. That doesn't feel right to me, but maybe like politics is that stupid.
Psych. Instead, what I'm going to do is totally neutralize that by allowing drilling everywhere, including the Willow Project in Alaska. I'm going to give Joe Manchin a pipeline, even though he destroyed 85% of my agenda. I'm going to gratuitously have more and more drilling. So that turns into a zero, and you didn't get anything else. And then you wonder why your funding dried up. Like, they have these total excuses. And I got to say, I talked to Daniel Morales, who did that piece, and I just thought at the end that the piece seemed to emphasize, oh, well, golly gee, the grassroots funding is drying up for everyone. It's not their fault. Well, why do you think grassroots is drying up? Because there's no hope left. Because we can't even get the bare minimum passed. We can't even get them to fight for the bare minimum. Don't pretend that $15 minimum wage was not the bare minimum. That voting rights was not the bare minimum. No progressive in their right mind can pretend that. And don't pretend you fought for it. You're on the record. You did nothing to fight back.
This part right here is just stupid. This is empty posturing. Different people in the Justice Dems and the Democrats have at varying points fought for these things to varying extents. This is just like preachy, screamy, you know, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you bullshit.
I just feel that just based on what we can see publicly, there's a lack of strategy and a lack of, it seems like they don't really talk to one another or plan on what their plan of attack is, right? And in fact, there was an aide who spoke to HuffPost about this, and this is what they said. So this is a progressive senior House aide. We have huge champions like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ilhan Omar, who are able to be successful political fundraisers, but movement-wise, we're not in a great place right now. And one House aide conceded that Justice Democrats aligned incumbents lacked cohesiveness and did not have regular group meetings with Justice Democrats. Other than some Israel bills, we never talked about legislation. There's a perspective that people with Justice Democrats win their race and come to Congress and do their own thing.
That's not a.
Oh, if that's the case, if that's an accurate reflection of their like internal strategy, that's really fucking dumb.
Perception. That's a stone cold fact.
Yeah.
That is absolute reality. And you guys have heard me allude to it before. I don't reveal private conversations, but I tell you generally.
So what do you think the best time to fight against corporate Dems is? I don't like that question because a lot of people don't seem to understand the like materialist side of political shifts. You know what I mean? The time to fight against corporate Dems is all the time when you can, and not when you can't. You know. It is a fact right now that like the current liberal or the current political climate favors liberalism because it's seen as a safe alternative to fascism. If you want to press back against like corporate Democrat behavior, there are times to do. I've talked about it plenty, but I don't. Your first goal in politics is not, well, when do we get to fight the corporate Dems? Your first goal in politics is wake up, smell the roses, and think, what is the most important thing to do right now? And the answer to that is fight fascism. Why do I see so many leftists online who ask, when's the time to challenge the corporate Dems? And not, when's the time to invalidate fascism at a political level? I never see that question get asked, which is weird to me because that is by far the most important priority. It's leagues more important than any individual policy issue, because the consequence of failing on that particular front are magnitudes greater than the harm done by continuing the status quo. But people don't wake up and say, well, okay, well, how can I most fight against the agenda of the Republican Party? Because leftists don't care about that because that makes them feel like they're liberals. Instead, it's, well, how do we oppose the corporate Dems, you know? Well, here's step one. Make the average Democrat voter not so insanely terrified of fascism that they're willing to accept risky alternatives, or what they perceive to be risky alternatives, to liberalism. If you want a progressive movement, then what you need is stability. And in order to get that, you have to push back against the fascism. That, I think, is the most important thing to focus on.
I was shocked to find out there's no strategy, no planning, no leadership on anything. And that's not just Justice Democrats. That's also other so-called progressives in Congress. Yes, that includes Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. Nobody ever talks to anybody. They don't coordinate. How the hell are you gonna pass something if you don't go and talk to people and you don't have to come up with a plan, a strategy? Look, and then if somebody proposes a strategy from the outside, everybody's too good now. Oh, I am a congressperson. Oh, I am a senator. Who cares? What have you done? What have you done? So do something.
I don't know what he's referring to here. I have never seen AOC go, oh, I am a congresswoman. I don't know what his. Anna might be right about this. A lot of new progressives like Maxwell Frost are supporting Israel. I did see the Maxwell Frost vote on Israel, man. Gen Z progressive says he's pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian. What the fuck? This was old. This is from 2022. It really just feels like if you want to succeed in American politics, you can't be anti-Israel, because if you are, people say it's like, oh, it's the Jews, oh, it's AIPAC. No, it's not. It's the cynical Democrats and Republicans in power who will disingenuously accuse you of anti-Semitism in order to politically handicap you. It's the same thing that happened to Corbyn, right? Corbyn got accused of being anti-Semitic, and that ended up like frying him electorally. But it wasn't Jews doing it. It was people in his own, it was Gentiles in his own party who were deliberately inflaming those accusations to fuck over Corbyn because they didn't like him. So it's not like, as always, the Jews aren't behind it. They're just a scapegoat. Except in this case, they're being used disingenuously as a scapegoat from the from the other side. You know, like, oh, how dare you be anti-Semitic by being anti-Israel? And this is being said by like a GOP congressperson whose staff is filled with Nazis. You know, and the Nazis will repeat it too.
Something, and guys, we're dying for leadership. So if AOC, for example, who's the most prominent of the Justice Democrats, said, that's it, I'm leading, I would love it.
Yeah, because there's no other room to talk, funny rhetorician. Like, you have to be pro-Israel to be a fucking American. You have to, because the politicians and media don't like front anything else, because Israel is like the perfect Mont Bailey for the establishment, okay? Because support for Israel is like the crux of support for American foreign military intervention and support for like apartheid regimes. Like, if you support Israel, then you can justify support for any bad thing abroad. They're like the focus point on that. But whenever a person like challenges what's happening in Israel, you get to accuse them of being an anti-Semite, which is still, at least nominally, not a good thing to be in American politics, in spite of the fact that the GOP is filled with Nazis. So, like, it's like, oh man, you want to like roll back our support of an apartheid regime? Ah, looks like you're an anti-Semite. It's like really convenient for the people in power, you know, who are, again, not Jews. They're just people using Jewish issues disingenuously to front their own agenda. The same way Nazis do, frankly.
Even if I didn't agree exactly with the plan, and even if I thought, well, you know, I would do it in a different way. Who cares? At least she's leading. At least she's bringing together a coalition. She's fighting back against the establishment. Did it happen? It's a verifiable fact that it didn't happen. And so it breaks my heart to tell you that, but that's the situation we're in. I hope that some of this gets through and they begin to realize that they've let the grassroots down. You can't say,
I also regret to inform you, you can't, quote, destroy the establishment from within when there are like 10 Justice Democrats and hundreds of Democrat congressmen.
Oh, I let you down, I didn't get you anything you wanted, but give me money. But give me money anyway. That is not a compelling argument. But my guess is they won't listen to anybody. They have Washingtonitis. All of them do. All the reporters do, all the groups do, the legislators do. What is that? They think that Joe Biden actually got a lot done. They're so happy and proud of themselves. They're like, what do you mean? I mean, we got a little bit of climate change in there. Yeah? And people are still complaining. Look, guys, in Washington,
he's coming across kind of hysterical here. I feel like there's a good point underlying this, but he's like freaking out. You cannot make all of your policy goals happen when you're like a dozen Congress people and you have a whole Senate, and then there's all of the rest of Congress. You know, like, yeah, he's too wound up right now. All right, like, oh man, we got a dozen progressive Congress people and they didn't get everything we wanted done. Oh, that's why you're not getting funded. That's not how it works. Like, Jesus Christ. Imagine if Republican donors, like corporate donors, stopped funding because they have like a couple MAGA guys in Congress and they didn't single-handedly like subvert the election in 2020. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, that's not how this works. Yeah, it's just rage against the system shit. This is like phony populism. Populism without an understanding of how populism functions. Where are these chips on their shoulders they have coming from? Well, this like fake populist outrage is necessary because they're shifting away from the left, so they're trying to pull over people whose main political bent is being, quote, anti-establishment, rather than people being like principally left-leaning. Though Ana Kasparian's going to have to rein in her talking points a little bit, because you can't do a good I'm a economic populist bit while also arguing that we need federal task squads to investigate shoplifting.
That might work in the bubble because everybody's nuts in Washington and everybody on cable news is just as nuts. And they're like talking about how Biden's FDR. But for the rest of the country, they're like, where the hell is higher wages? I mean, Joe Biden didn't even offer the public option, let alone Medicare for all. And you never held him to account. Did a single Justice Democrat ever say Joe Biden is a liar? He said he'd do the public option. Not only did he not do it, he didn't even propose it. Joe Biden said he'd do $15 minimum wage and he threw it under the bus at the first opportunity. Did any of you call him out on that? No, they went with the trust Biden strategy. That got.
I don't think they went with the trust Biden strategy, and I'm pretty sure I've seen tons of progressives call out Joe Biden for not fronting a public option. Also, didn't the $15 an hour minimum wage thing die in the Senate? And then after the whole thing with the Senate parliamentarian, a bunch of people criticized about. I'm pretty confident that I remember having seen lots of people criticize Biden on like every element of this. Maybe not enough. I mean, how many times do you have to say it? I guess. Like, what's the, like 50 times? 100?
Got their ass handed to them. That's a fact.
Well, a former Bernie Sanders campaign operative, Karthik, are you familiar with Karthik?
No.
Okay, so Karthik Ganapathy says that, well, you know, it's really hard to challenge incumbent Democrats, like in this particular time, especially with Biden's few progressive accomplishments, which makes it challenging, makes challenging the establishment.
No, I think the main thing is the threat of fascism. It's not the perception of Joe Biden having done well. I think it's the fact that Americans are scared.
Less urgent.
Because Biden got progressive accomplishments on Planet Xandu or wherever the hell this guy's on.
This is the co-founder of Left Flank.
Are you?
Okay. When there's a big gap between where the president is on legislative priorities and where the left is, it becomes really important for the left to take on a more confrontational posture. But comparing, for example, the role of single-payer advocacy groups during the Affordable Care Act fights versus the role of groups like Sunrise Movement in the Inflation Reduction Act process, it's night and day. I generally think the White House and the Biden campaign see progressives as part of their coalition, and that counts for something.
No, it doesn't. Legislation counts for something. You thinking you're part of the coalition and having tea with Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden counts for nothing. Show me the bills. Show me the fight. This isn't why we started Justice Democrats, so you guys could all be famous and get along, be super comfortable in Washington and get along with your goddamn colleagues. None of us are interested in your colleagues. There's only
it's literally just a Jimmy Dore segment. I know Cenk likes to yell. I'm not saying that's new or anything, but like, again, I feel like there's a legitimate point underlying this that's being bowled over by fake rage, that it like you're overstating the point significantly. The problem is that like getting work done as a progressive in Congress is fucking hard. And I'm not going to pretend that anyone is doing it perfectly, but to go, you know, this like hyper reactionary, zero IQ, small brain, like, you know, we didn't elect you so you could go have tea parties with Pelosi, like shit. It's like, you're not taking it seriously. Jesus, Benjamin. You're not really taking it seriously. You're just using it to posture your own brand. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure that Cenk and Ana Kasparian are right-leaning compared to AOC and Ilhan Omar. At least from what I've seen. Yes, Jimmy Dore did come from TYT, in addition to like a lot of bad people. No, he's directly lying. Kyle can spit out 20 to 30 policies. He's happy with the Biden admin in under a minute. No, yeah. The Biden admin has done more good than I expected him to. Not as good as I wanted him to, of course. But, you know, that's obviously that threshold was never going to be met.
One thing we're interested in, pass the bills. Pass the bills.
Pass the bills.
And until you do that,
magically, even though there's only like a dozen of you and Congress has over 400 people there, pass the bills. Why aren't you passing the bills? Why didn't you magically make the Senate shift, even though there are no Justice Dems in the Senate? Why didn't you force Biden, the parliamentarians, to shift the bill? Do it all. Magic. Do it magically. Magic.
No interest. Like, who's going to do fundraising for you guys? Rah, rah. Let's get more no bills passed? Not in.
It's like actually like listening to a kid. Rah, rah, let's get more no bills? It's like a clickbait YouTuber trying to talk to 8-year-olds. Oh, man.
Interesting. So they need a lot of help, and it doesn't even seem like they recognize the problem. They don't even realize they have a massive problem. It isn't because of cycles. It isn't because you didn't do your email list right.
I love being literally the most principled person on the left because it's so easy to make a lot of money and get a lot of attention with the fake populist fervor where nothing is ever enough for you and every possible solution is not going to pan out exactly how you want it. So why even bother? Why even engage with it? You know, I could do like the burn your bus. I could do like all of it all the time, everything. And instead, like, I'm like the one leftist who will sit down here and I'll say, listen, okay, your number one priority is not challenging the corporate Dems. It's fighting fascism, you fucking loser. Get your head out of your ass, okay? You did not become a leftist so you could politically distinguish yourself from your annoying parents, all right? Get over yourself. You're not a revolutionary. You're a fucking dude typing online shitposting, okay? Make the world a better place in the ways that you feel you can, and quit overvaluing yourself. Quit pretending that this is some grand conflict in which you are the star. Like, quit acting as though you were going to strike out the corporate Dems by getting a couple of progressives elected to Congress. Like, come on, man. But like, that sells so well. It sells so well because people love hearing that. It was like when talking with the Vanguard boys, where I would make out like every argument that I had for like, listen, this is why I think you can only get these things done. Like, you have to know what you can get done, because if you don't know what you're capable of getting done, you'll waste your time trying to do things you can't. And then every time I'd finish anything, it was like, well, then how do we challenge the corporate Dems? Like, every time, right? Like, it's like, that's like the only thing I care about. Like, hey, here's a strategy to stop fascism. Here's a strategy to oppose the spread of fascism in the world's most powerful country, which would probably set in motion a chain of events that would not only lead to our deaths, but the death of like the entire like global network of political and economic engagement that allows for the modern standard of life, standard of living increases the rest of the world around, climate change, like everything will fall apart. And they're like, okay, yeah, like whatever, like you're probably overstating that, but like the corporate Dems are more responsible shepherds of this country than 99% of progressive leftists ever could be. And that is a serious fucking you know, like indictment of the effectiveness of progressive lefties in the West, you know? That's how bad it is. Like, Jesus. It's like, I swear to God, it's like all leftist discourse got like co-opted by Kremlin talking points where, hey guys, good leftist foreign policy is opposing America all the time, no matter what, regardless of the context, no matter what, just always do that. And good internal policy is being anti-establishment and populist, even if the establishment has better ideas than you do, and even if the populism is completely aimless and without direction, you're not actually accomplishing anything, and you have no idea what you're talking about, you don't understand how this works. It just reminds me of how, like it's like how many, I see lefties get tens of thousands of retweets on Twitter where they will blame Joe Biden for state law being passed in Republican states. Or they're like, so you want us to vote Democrat in 2024, even though all these anti-trans laws are happening? It's like, well, where are the anti-trans laws happening? In red states, but they don't engage with that because they don't know how it works. How can you say we vote Biden when the Supreme Court's tearing apart our rights anyway? The Supreme Court is currently red-leaning because of the people appointed under Trump's term. So if Hillary had won then, and then Biden had won, it would be a left-leaning Supreme Court, and we wouldn't have any of this. These problems are all downstream of Republicans. Well, how did Biden fix them? He can't fix he can't fix state law. That's not what the president does, and he can't undo previous Supreme Court appointments. You just have to not have Republicans win. If Republicans don't win, there's not an issue here. if Republicans lose, then we have more room to challenge corporate dem policies because people aren't voting entirely based on what they think will be the safe alternative to fascism. We can do this, guys. It's not difficult. I am engaging in like sophomoric political analysis here. This isn't heavy shit. I'm not using my whole brain. I'm using maybe 4 brain cells at most. This is obvious, but lefties stumble at this time and time again. We saw earlier that segment where Jim Cramer was like freaking out and comparing people to Marx because of the idea of union striking or whatever. That is the level of political engagement in terms of like the bar for IQ that I see lefties engage in time and time again. But we don't get as upset by it because when we see them, we think, oh, well, at least there are retards. They're not. They're not my retards. They're not my retards, and I don't claim them, okay? I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, all these people who have no clue what fascism would do to this country. Real fascist. Joe Biden's a fascist. You have no idea what fascism is. I want you to know what fascism is, okay? Go to Myanmar or Burma or what. Go learn what fascism is, okay? Please, go to any country that is actually definitively fascist and express contrary political views to the running government, okay? Go learn, all right? Jesus. This is like an Americanoid thing, or I guess Westoid in general, but like you guys have no idea how lucky you are to live in countries where you get to be belligerent little shits who have no idea what you're talking about and not get shot in the back of the head and black-bagged, okay? Because that's not a permanent thing. That's not guaranteed. That's not like an innate property of human governance, you know? You could very well live in a country where you will get black-bagged and shot in the back of the head. That happens in parts of the world today. It's happened historically in other parts of the world. It could still happen today here if the wrong people win the right elections. I'm really just trying to keep you guys safe. I just want people to be safe. I just want this country to be a free, open space where socialists have the ability to advertise their superior economic and political philosophy without being black-bagged and shot in the back of the head. That's it. I have to wade through this sickening, acrid mire of retards and grifters and fake populists with people who have nothing to say but screaming, who have nothing to offer the political conversation outside the aesthetic, the neon sign pointed to them, screaming, look at me, ma, I'm not a liberal. Look, I hate the corporate Dems. Great, hate the corporate Dems. Take the hate to the mass grave they'll leave you in, okay? You just don't know. You have no idea. You have no clue. You have no clue how bad things can get. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. You have no idea. But you will if we lose. It's end of history nonsense. Fukuyama fucking clapping his hands appreciatively as he reads your average leftist Twitter post where the idea of a safe, like, bourgeois democracy in which they can express their retarded ideals is taken for granted, you know? Like, unironically, though, like, all the lefties are, yeah, dude, well, you know, Trump was where Biden's a fascist too. It's like, oh, yeah, end of history, man. Yeah, sure, we did it. Yeah, nothing can happen in this country that'll lead to you guys getting mass grave. You'll never be loaded onto a train. That'll never happen, bro. End of history, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, not even Fukuyama. Yeah, Fukuyama's moved away from this. You know, 9/11 basically threw that in the fucking garbage. No, Philomath 20, that's what I'm saying. There are legitimate points that he and Anna were making that I don't necessarily disagree with. That's why that's why if you overshoot the case, you know? Like, I think it's okay. Like, people do this all the time because because it's like the dial, right? Like you turning the dial that says populism on it, looking back at my audience to see the reaction. Like, hey, the corporate Dems are fucking us over. They're like complicit. They're willingly incompetent against fascism. Yeah, like turns back towards crowd, turns the dial right even further. Also, the Democrats are just as bad as the Republicans anyway. Corporate Democrats, corporations, that's like fascism, man. They're just as bad as each other. Yeah, turn back everyone. Turn it even further right, you know? Yeah, actually, I think Democrats are worse because at least like Republicans are trying to change things. Yeah, like but like this pipeline exists, you know? Fuck, so annoying. You have to dial it in. Your show has been given. I have an IMDb page, and I'm rated 6.8. I should be 6.9. Isn't that the funny meme number? Some people seem mad. Yeah, not a single 7 rating. All right. Jesus, we're 2 hours into the stream. I get worked up over this shit, man. I'm going to hit the add button. We've still got a ton of links to go through. True! Who made this? You made that real quick. Oh, do you want to see something super cute? I posted it on Twitter. Look at this. Look at him. I love him.
Yeah. Woo! Ooh.
So cute. Look at him. Do he and Pigeon fight? Yeah, they play. Play fight. Yeah, I saw a video of them installing these. After a body was found, quote, stuck in Texas's buoy barriers, take a look at what they actually look like. There's a sharp piece of metal in between each buoy. So basically, for a large portion of the southern border is divided over a river. Buoy? I don't know how to pronounce buoy. Buoy. Thank you. It's basically a big death wall.
That they did. However, if you can see in the middle of all these buoys, they have what looks like a saw. It's like a serrated piece of metal that would probably harm somebody trying to go over the middle of one of these. Here's a closer look at these buoys. They do not have barbed wire on them, as a lot of people had the misconception that they did. However,
super cool. Why not just, like, do a DMZ and minefield the southern border? Why not? What stops you from swimming under them? Are there nets? They're crossing a lot of water here. You can't really swim. You can, but, like, a lot. So, okay, when you're trying to cross, you're usually carrying stuff, like, with you. They have weighted nets underneath. You could kind of like go down and pull up the nets, but the river goes down a lot and you're often carrying stuff that floats. It's not really like practically feasible. If you don't have stuff, if you're like a lone athletic adult without much to carry, then probably you could get around it. But yeah, basically anything, having kids with you, having anything like that'll, yeah. So they die out of sight and are never found. Well, they said they found a body stuck in one, so that's like a euphemism. Probably stuck in the netting, I'm guessing. They found another body? Okay, multiple bodies. Thank you. 2 bodies. Thank you. Finally, now we're getting to a real link. Look at that. Sound of Freedom funder Fabian Marta arrested for child kidnapping. Fantastic. So remember, Sound of Freedom is that QAnon-adjacent movie where people who made it went to QAnon events, and it's basically a dramatization of a fake story about a lying, ineffective anti-child trafficking org that would make up stories and basically just gallivant around promoting itself. The Sound of Freedom was a story eulogizing them. And it looks like a major funder has been arrested for child kidnapping. Fantastic. Every single time, man. Every single time. Let's go. Marta, 51, from Chesterfield, Missouri, was charged on July 21st and arrested on July 23rd. How much do we know about the charge? Hold on. Not much information on the charge here. Hold on. Sound of Freedom, child traffic. Oh, no, child kidnapping, not child trafficking. Is there any, like, information on the specifics here? I guess it's too early. It's like child trafficking is such a like heavy thing to accuse somebody of. I'm surprised there's not any kind of, you know, specific information about it. Huh. No, kidnapping, not trafficking. But what is kidnapping but small-scale trafficking? Curious? Do they have any info here? So... The company said in a statement, Angel Studios adhered to the requirements of federal and state laws and regulations in allowing 6,678 people to invest an average of $501 each into the launch of Sound of Freedom. I like how immediately after talking about the Justice Dems being out of money, it's like, yeah, a bunch of like paranoid gun-toting wine moms in the suburbs were like independently financing this. You know, like we crowdfunded the release of the QAnon movie. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any information on what exactly he did to get this charge landed. Do you think the reason why he supported the Sound of Freedom was because he wants to cut down on the competition for child, like, kidnapping? You know what I mean? Like, he's thinking, man, these South African gangs are doing all this. Like, what the fuck, man? What about, like, good old homegrown? For him, it's like an economic protectionist thing, you know? Like he's like, well, we need to bring back child kidnapping to America, you know? We can only imagine. Probably oppose NAFTA. Well, that's probably true, yes. It probably wasn't a super serious case of child kid. Like, I imagine it's one of those things where, like, you divorce your wife, your ex-wife, and then, like, you really want to take your kid out for ice cream, but the kid's with the mom, so he, like, shows up and he's like, here, come on, we're gonna go get some ice cream or whatever. 15,000 for bail is pretty low. Neat, King Jar Jerk. Yeah, still counts. Dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, there's no new info here. Oh well. What the fuck is this? I feel like I'm making, with today's stream and yesterday's stream, I feel like I'm making stuff really tough for Ryan and Tempest because there was like no clean break between what may or may not be segments.
Conspiración. México está en peligro por un virus que se creía erradicado, el virus comunista. Su resurgimiento está en la educación comunista que la Secretaría de Educación Pública.
Why have a mustache if it's going to be this insubstantial? I know that the resolution on this video is really low, but this looks like, is this stubble? Is this peach fuzz? Do you just have like you didn't dye your mustache the way you dyed your hair? It's like, it looks like somebody set the opacity on the mustache to like 20%, you know? It looks like shit.
busca imponer a las niñas y a los niños de México. Estamos ante una conspiración fraguada por comunistas trasnochados, como el director de materiales educativos de la SEP, Marx Arriaga, y el subsecretario Luciano Concheiro. El Marx mexicano sin Marx incluso trajo de Venezuela al exfuncionario chavista Sadi Arturo Loaiza. Los manuales que van a utilizar los maestros es otro tema también serio. Los manuales que se van a utilizar para la educación, que van a utilizar los maestros para la educación de los niños, están en contra de la libertad. Buscan convertirlos en esclavos.
This is just a word salad of keywords. Yeah, one of the things that's really funny as an American about looking at far-right reactionary propaganda in other countries is that they almost borrow our terms and our rhetoric, but they do it badly. Because like America is the global cultural hegemon, so you like Mexico, Spain, Italy, whatever, you look at their propaganda and they're using the term woke and they're freaking out the same way that we do, but they don't, they're kind of like exporting a lot of it from its cultural context, which means that it's like less coherent, you know?
Esclavos sumisos de una dictadura comunista. Son las guías de la educación comunista que pretenden que los niños no lean, no aprendan matemáticas, lógica, ciencias, ética o historia sin distorsiones. No quieren que sean mejores, que seamos mejores. El objetivo de esto.
Like, why do this while just going over all these innocuous, cute-looking children's book covers, you know?
Los comunistas es que los negocios, hasta los más básicos, los changarros, sean mal vistos. Los comunistas promueven.
They literally do this here in Argentina. It's insane because they don't even make sense. Yeah, it's just always remember, like, that's yet another example, you know? Socialist movements are homegrown. Socialist movements are populist, are grassroots, are bottom up. Whereas like fascist movements overwhelmingly come from the upper crust, and the upper crust of the world is highly international, you know? Like, no matter how much they pretend to be America first, super wealthy far-right politicians, bureaucrats, and businessmen in America collaborate with and talk to other leaders from all around the world all the time. So they borrow each other's talking points because they're all fundamentally stemming from the same evil, which is global capital. So you see these like these sort of copycat talking points everywhere, because of course America is the epicenter of the global business community.
Ven en las guías para los maestros el desprecio al trabajo, a la cultura, a la religión, hasta la familia. Se sienten empoderados y buscan generar violencia y resentimiento.
I just realized there are subtitles. I didn't need them because I can speak Spanish.
Acabar con México como lo conocemos y condenarlo a la pobreza.
Wait. Is that a butt? Is this added to like... This is what the Marxists want to do to Mexico, okay? They want a bombed out building, I think. There's a child crying. Over here we have children with guns. And here's the fattest ass. And communists will do all of this. I assume this is like supposed to be evidence of degeneracy, I'm guessing?
A la mediocridad y al odio. La nueva escuela mexicana quiere terminar con lo mejor de la cultura mexicana.
Cool. Well, that was pretty funny. Prostitution. I don't think your average prostitute has giant butt implants. I could be wrong, I guess. That seems like an odd representation to me. I thought this was just a lady with a giant butt getting into a car. I didn't even read this as prostitution. She's not even dressed like a prostitute. Like, I know maybe this is like a cultural thing, but in America, when we think of a prostitute, we think of a lady on a street corner, like on the sidewalk in a city with like a bare midriff or whatever. But she looks like she's wearing normal clothes, albeit with a fat ass, and she's in the middle of the road. I don't know. yeah, I don't know. Very confusing. Very confusing. It's a person doing a clown performance at a traffic stop. Is it really? That might make more sense, because that would explain the big butt, and it looks like there's an overall strap right here. See this? Right behind the back, there's a cloth strip of similar color to the pants. Like it might go over the shoulder, so they're like holding up a big bubble ass apparatus. And this is mediocridad. Okay. Speaking of countries that aren't America, as much as it pains me to acknowledge their existence, apparently ECOWAS military leaders are potentially making a plan for the possible invasion of Niger, which is interesting. Huh. West African defense chiefs have drawn up a plan for potential military intervention if Niger's coup is not overturned by the weekend. Okay. What does this mean? I don't even know what's going on over there. Okay, hold on. ECOWAS map. So, Niger, which is a very populous country in West Africa, recently had a little oopsie doodle. They had a little bit of a coup. And ECOWAS, which is an economic collaboration between a number of West African states, is a bit upsetty spaghetti over this, largely because ECOWAS is trying to build a sort of trade bloc that deals with the world and often the West, whereas right now Niger is controlled by a military coup that is looking to do more like pan-Arabist, economic protectionist, deal with Russia, not the West kind of stuff, you know? Here we go. Wow, that's a lot of pixels. So ECOWAS, which is represented by all of these countries except for Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, because Burkina Faso and Mali have also broken trend, are potentially going to invade, which would be wacky, which would be interesting. A lot of wacky stuff potentially happening here, you know? Cool. Here, that's less horrible to look at. Are these Arab countries? These are West African countries. The junta leaders just met with Wagner in Mali. Oh yeah, worth noting, by the way, that the Wagner group is heavily behind Niger. Fucking Blue Angels. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. And Guinea? And Guinea. They're still going. They're going to be here for the weekend. Yeah, there we go. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea will probably intervene in favor of Niger. ECOWAS would not. Who are the lesser evil? Honestly, for the people of West Africa, ECOWAS is probably a better road forward than the road Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso are going. They're fucked either way. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso currently represent like being cucked out to the Wagner group, interminable dictatorship, and collaboration with Russia. And Russia is like a broke, despotic country that can't provide much in the way of protection or economic support. ECOWAS isn't exactly a thriving liberal democracy, but the path they're on probably has more potential, but it's not, like, good at all. Yeah, to be clear, I'm not making the argument that ECOWAS is good, which is the one that had the Kill Whitey's concert. That is South Africa, not a part of this. Yeah, you're either cucked by the West or cucked by Russia and the Wagner Group. Nigeria, the biggest member, is a liberal democracy. Well, not quite as liberal or democracy as I would like, but yes, Nigeria is a very large and powerful country in Africa. I mean, relative to Africa, not us. Do you think Chinese loans are better for African countries? Like, okay, the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, their investment is neocolonialism, but it's not like we do better, right? France has been fucking these countries for decades and decades. Like, I'm not going to pretend we're better, you know? I'm primarily concerned with what's best for the people of West Africa. And for West Africa, I think that it is marginally better to support ECOWAS than the coup in Niger. But, like, that's not a clean cut, you know what I mean? This isn't exactly like a picture-perfect representation of good Western intervention. This isn't like the Marshall Plan or whatever, you know? It's not good. ECOWAS, a leader statement. The elements of a possible intervention have been developed, including the necessary resources, but also the way and when we will deploy the force, said ECOWAS Commissioner Abdel Fattah Moussa. Man, that does sound like they're going to intervene. I wonder. This is what multipolarity actually means in practice? Yes, it is! Multipolarity causes lots of conflict, strife, and destabilization all around the world. At least this kind of multipolarity does. ECOWAS has won all 7 interventions since the 90s. Oh, man. Hold on. Niger military size. The Niger Armed Forces. Active personnel, 25,000, with over 1 million people fit for military service if they were conscripted. But Nigeria is huge. The Nigerian army is 160,000 strong. So 6 times the size of Niger's army just based on their standing forces. Conscripting them in a week is not possible. No, it's not. Yeah, Nigeria would win. So what is so I'm guessing that the coup in Niger, like, they're just betting that ECOWAS doesn't do anything. It's not like Mali and Burkina Faso have the troops to do anything about an invasion from Nigeria. Like, how many Wagner personnel are in Burkina Faso and Mali? It can't be more than 10,000. Probably quite a bit less. Around 5,000? $5,000 Wagner troops is nothing to scoff at when it comes to, like, African military engagement, but compared to what Nigeria can field, would Nigeria be willing to field its, like, entire military? Or, like, a reasonable portion of it, I mean, you know, would be willing to commit to a real conflict over this? Probably. It's not as though Nigeria wants to have, like, a military dictatorship do a coup right north of them. That doesn't make them look very good. The last ECOWAS military invention went well. In the Gambia? Yeah, but the Gambia is nowhere near as large as Niger. What were the casualties here? Were there any? Basically none. They just, like, went in. It wasn't like a open war. No, Vosh, Nigeria has a real air force and a good military. They get crushed. Yeah, hold on. Let me check really quickly. Nigeria military equipment. Let me see what planes are we working with. What can we do here? List of equipment in the Nigerian army. Oh, they've got pistols. They've got good pistols too. Beretta, look at that, very shiny. Okay, what about the real shit? Does it list like numbers here? Fire, M40, RPGs. Okay, I know they've got tanks and technicals and blah blah. Give me the real shit. But I need numbers. I need to see how many they have. Do they have pilots that can actually fly them? Are they well trained? How many flying hours do they need per month? Yeah, estimates in the right column, but not all of them were filled out. Air defense, aircraft. Aircraft? Oh, this is just the Army. Wait, hold on. This is just the Army. Sorry. Equipment of the Air Force. I thought it would be that all their military equipment, not just, here, we'll just see this. Okay. Nigerian Air Force, 18,000 active personnel, one of the largest in Africa. Aircraft including 9 Chengdu F-7s, 12 Dassault Dornier Alpha Jets, 3 JF-17s, 12 Embraer bunch of weird stuff. Well, weird to us. First flight 1966, that's pretty old. First flight 1973, that's pretty old. First flight 1999, that's not that old. Light attack aircraft. What about their bombers? Do they have bombers? 24 M346 FAs on order, helicopter gunships. Those are the bombers? These? These are modern multi-role? Okay, yeah, I guess that would be the best we can do. Wide variety of weapons, including precision-guided munitions. I'm operating on the assumption that Nigeria doesn't have, like, fucking hyper-targeted drone warfare shit. So I assume that if they wanted to take out high-value targets, like, without putting troops on the ground, that they would have to use, like, attack helicopters or... Yes, they do. They do! Nigeria acquiring Bayraktar. Oh, shit, boys. Hold on. My assumption may have been incorrect. I arrogantly, as a Westoid, assumed that Nigeria does not have access to, you know, modern drone aircraft. But it seems I'm incorrect. Last year, a few months ago, a high-ranking civilian official confirmed Nigeria was acquiring armed military drones from Turkey. Wow, that's a huge deal. So, like, the reason I was looking for the bombers, or anything that can operate as a bomber, I don't just mean, like, fucking giant, like, huge bomb. I mean just, like, anything that can attack a target relatively accurately further in, is because I'm pretty sure that Niger doesn't have any meaningful anti-air shit, right? Like, they probably have cannons or AA guns, but I don't know if they would have... I don't know that much about, like, the remnants of African military equipment, but I can't imagine they have, like, high target... or like high accuracy targeted anti-air equipment. But they certainly couldn't take down a drone, at least not reliably. They ordered 6 of them along with 2 ground control stations? Okay. Except Wagner? But do they? Would the Wagner group have brought high-quality anti-air shit with them? Because I don't think they would have. The Wagner group is mostly in Africa, so they can work for dictators, killing protesters, and occupying gold mines. I don't think they would have brought, like, that kind of stuff with them. They could get them, but do they have them? Like, would Wagner really bring equipment to prepare for conflict with Nigeria? Because in a conflict with Nigeria, they lose. Like, why? Mercenary groups don't really prepare for engagements in situations where their loss is guaranteed. They're there to make money. They're not like a standing army, right? So, like, oh yeah, just in case we fight Nigeria. Like, well, if you fight Nigeria, you're going to lose. So why even... They have Mil-8 helicopters? Well, that can't take out a drone, right? I don't think reasonably. Does the U.S. have a side we want to win here? Yeah, ECOWAS. Yeah. Nigeria have mostly man-pads and anti-air guns? Okay, then they couldn't do anything about the Bayraktar, really. Wagner can't seem to get away from the Bayraktar. Just, like, some like, Wagner veteran who is over in the Donbass seeing, like, his allies get blown to bits, and he fucking takes a sabbatical to Belarus, and then over to Mali, and then over to Niger to participate in the coup, hearing in the distance, Bayraktar, dun, 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 dun. But it's like, not again. Well, true, Lufer, but there's a difference between fighting against, like, insurgents and fighting against actual militaries. I don't think any country has ever, like, done well fighting against insurgents. It's pretty tough. We're in real trouble if Ghana gets involved. Oh, right, of course. The Ghana powered armor. I remember this.
I'm a kind of about him. No, we are higher in Saint and they are talk. I am tired. What do you say? Uncle be back in to car. What do you say? It's not so. Ninja should not quest for so. And so way, okay, when you speak a crabby, Mamonto. Now, after you have a crabby, but a Mamonto, Mamon Yahoo. Or that be Ento. Memanento. Oh, okay, one find the same.
Why the gun in the head? Don't worry about it, okay? So anyway, yeah, if Ghana gets involved, ECOWAS is fucked. They don't have a response to power armor, I don't think. You should take a look at the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda and presence in the region. It's massive, and this is their wet dream. Yeah. That's the big reason that the Wagner Group has been able to get a hold in Mali and Burkina Faso is because ISIS has been fucking them over so hard. Basically, like, living in Mali or Burkina Faso is like there are areas of relative government control and then there's just a big open swaths of land where fucking ISIS reigns, you know? And the Wagner Group has in part been used as a way of keeping stability in that environment. So all of this destabilization can only benefit ISIS. This is going to cause serious long-term problems, I'm afraid. Is it ISIS or is it Boko Haram? Well, both groups are active there, right? Also, I don't think it's technically called ISIS. It's called, like, the Islamic State of something, isn't it, in Mali? Or is it different? Islamic insurgency in the Sahel or jihadist insurgencies in the Sahel is Islamic insurgency in the Sahel war. It's... And then there's Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. Okay, I'm just going to Google ISIS in Mali. Just the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara. Did you guys know there are lots of ISISes? Like, the Islamic State is actually everywhere in Northern Africa and West Africa. And they have like 50 branches. It's actually really bad. It's not good. Didn't Al-Qaeda fall off? Well, it depends on where you are. I'm pretty sure they're still active in the region. They're just not active in, like, Afghanistan anymore. Or will wait. Yeah, because the Taliban. Okay, yeah. They are? Are they? Where did Al-Qaeda, like, fall off then? Where are Al-Qaeda? In Afghanistan and Pakistan. Yeah, but didn't they fall off significantly there? I thought the Taliban kind of muscled Al-Qaeda out because they were doing a more global thing. I don't know. Okay, okay. New plan, all right? It's just fucked there. It's just all bad. It's not good. Estimated Daesh numbers. Daesh? The UN has estimated in a report published last month that Daesh still has 5,000 to 7,000 members and supporters across Iraq and Syria. Okay, what about Africa? Islamic State in Libya, 2,000 to 3,000. No, like the whole of... They're global? Well, yeah, Al-Qaeda operates a global network, or at least they try to. The Mali War? Here. Let's get some regional stuff. Okay. So red is the Malian army. Platform are pro-government militias. Green is coordination of Azawad movements. Jamaat Nasser al-Islam wal Muslim. Whatever that, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know much about Mali, okay? And then the Islamic State is over here. But the area the Islamic State is, over in this corner, that's the border with Niger, is it not? Guys, do I remember that properly? Right here to the south, that's Burkina Faso, and this is Niger, and then down in the bottom right corner is Nigeria. Right? Okay, yeah. So the area where the Islamic State is present is where they border with Niger. Wait, wouldn't that mean if the Malian army wanted to get involved in any potential ECOWAS intervention in Niger, they would have to cross through ISIS-held territory? Or they would have to go through Burkina Faso? Because most of the border they share with Niger is controlled by... Dude, it's so fucked there! Oh my god! Holy shit! It's literally like those RTS missions where you start with a full base that's already fucked. You know what I mean? Like, or you're playing like Supreme Commander or like Civilization. Here's the scenario, okay? Your base spanned half the map, but it came giga-fucked to begin with. Good luck. You salvage the remnants. Except it's unsalvageable. Fuck. How much does ECOWAS struggle with ISIS presence within their countries? I know they do. How much Islamic State activity is there in there, and like where is it concentrated? Hold on. Islamic State ECOWAS countries. Violent extremism in the Sahel. In 2015, Boko Haram pledged allegiance to the Islamic State and rebranded as the Islamic State in Western Africa. Oh my god. Islamic State provinces and rival Al-Qaeda affiliates areas of okay, Al-Qaeda and ISIS don't get along. Necessarily. It's complicated. Okay. Fuck. Okay. Islamic State Libya and Sinai attacks are here. The Islamic State of the West African province seems to be having a boatload of fun at the shared border of Chad, Nigeria, and Niger. And then the Islamic State of the Greater Sahara and the Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal Muslimin are over here fucking over Mali and Burkina Faso and a little bit at the edge of Niger. Okay, at least from this map, ECOWAS seems less fucked except for the eastern province of Nigeria. Like, this area is more calm than this area. Okay, guys, wait, hold on, really quick. Chicken and the egg. Did these attacks from the Islamic State ramp up before or after Mali and Guinea and Burkina Faso broke ways with ECOWAS? Or in other words, were the attacks what destabilized the alliance, or was the alliance being broken off what led to the attacks because the region destabilized? Yeah, this just shows ISIS and Al-Qaeda, though. I know it doesn't show everything. There's so much bad stuff going on. We haven't even looked at Boko Haram. I know there are more actors. Just answer the question. They ramped up after the French were driven out of Mali? Okay, hold on. French leaving Mali. Ending 9-year deployment. Peacekeepers. The last 12,000 peacekeepers need to leave. Well, it looks like the French have had presence there like this whole time. No, wait, this is the UN. I like these berets. I like these. This like light blue beret, that looks really nice, I think. This is a good look altogether, I think. Yeah, that's a really like cute outfit. That looks really nice. Though you wouldn't think like light blue and beige would necessarily work together because browns and like tend to work with like blacks and grays and stuff, and then like blues tend to work with like other pastels, but it looks really good together. It's really nice. Okay, the French beach and sea. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's like the beach and the sea. That's true. That's true. Yeah, you kind of like a beachy shell color. That's nice. Okay. Wow, this is so cool. The Salafi Jihadi movement in Africa as of May 2021. Okay. The deep black countries are active insurgency. So look, here are 3 breakaway ECOWAS states: Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, not Guinea. Medium gray is low-level insurgency. Light gray is terrorist attack cells. And then striped is transit zone. Okay. According to the red text, it's escalating here. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, what about Burkina? Okay, no, what? What's the other one? What's the other one we're forgetting right now? Not Islamic State, not Daesh, not Al-Qaeda, not Taliban. What's the other one? The other one that we need to look at. Boko Haram, thank you. Boko Haram, ECOWAS countries. Do we have maps? Maps. Okay. I am looking at this map of Boko Haram in Nigeria, and it seems like they're doing a lot, is the thing. That's the problem. See, when you look at a map of a country and you see that like a solid 2/5 of it are areas where that far-right terrorist group is most active. Oh, this is from 2013? Okay, let me see if I can find a more recent one. This is... Oh, this is even older. This is from 2009. Let's find a new one. This is from 2010 to 2016, where you can see that they're having a lot of fun all around the place. Super cool. That's super cool. Can I find anything? What about this? Africa, Nigeria, or Nigeria security threats. No, that's an older map. Unfortunately, it's really difficult sometimes to get demographic data in these countries because, you know, areas where the Boko Haram are really active are also areas where you don't usually send in Poindexters with, you know, clipboards to do census data. Boko Haram mostly in the northeast. Yeah, okay, I'll check the Wikipedia map in a second. How many people are in Boko Haram? Boko Haram, officially known as Jamaat al-As-Sunnah lid Dawa wal Jihad, or Group of the People of Sunnah for Dawa and Jihad. Estimated population claimed... Okay, the last estimate we have for their population is 15,000, but it's from January 2015. So we don't have an update on their population in 8 years. It's really fucking wild how, like, if you look over all of it, the total number of Islamic insurgents operating in all of the Middle East and Africa is, like, less than 10% of the population of our armed forces. It's so easy to imagine, and this would never work. It's not this simple, but it's so easy to imagine, like, bro, what if we just, like, fucking destroyed them, you know? Like, dude, what if like all the countries teamed up and like annihilated, but it doesn't work that way. But it's so, like, in the mind, it's like, what, 10,000 insurgents in the whole country? Well, that's what it's like a National Guard. Like, that's nothing compared to the force of a modern military, you know? But in actuality, it is, because insurgencies are fucking impossible to deal with. Guys, has a major country ever dealt with an insurgency effectively? I'm genuinely, it's not me being sarcastic. I actually want to know, is there a single example of a large country with a military, a modern military, ousting an insurgency effectively? Is that like even a thing? Is it just like the cheat code? I would love to know. I'd love to study up on that so I could have opinions. Yes, in Sri Lanka? Okay, well, I don't know anything about what's gone on in Sri Lanka. But okay, I'll take a look. Oh, of course, also, the Rojavans have done well with ISIS, you know. But that's not necessarily like a nation-state fighting. That's a specific thing. Okay, so Boko Haram is mostly active in northeast Nigeria. So it seems like if I had to guess, and I'm kind of doing this from first principles, so if I'm totally off, you have to tell me, okay? But if I had to guess, okay, Islamic militancy was probably to begin with more common in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and like areas more towards that side of things, because A, they're further to the north and northern parts of Africa are more likely to have more Muslims, and B, those areas are like further from the sea, and the sea tends to be like a pathway to trade and prosperity, even like in a relative sense there. So they were more likely to be plagued by the Islamic groups. The plaguing from the Islamic groups destabilized the countries, made it harder to hold territory, and predicated like a higher likelihood of military dictatorship in those countries. And that's the reason why things are going the way they are, in large part in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, because the destabilization makes it easier for far-right strongmen to take power, and that's exactly what ECOWAS is trying to prevent by staying together. So we're kind of seeing like two forces like sort of coinciding at once, which is a far-right military dictatorship is being produced by instability, and the instability is facilitating like a separation from the economic partnership, and that's causing more instability, which increases the likelihood of the Islamic groups that are leading to the strongmen to grow right. And that's why we're in the situation we're in. You guys realize that even if ECOWAS intervenes and fucks over Niger and invades and everything, that's not going to fix any of those underlying problems, right? Like, even if Nigeria fucking nuts up and Bayraktars the shit out of Niger and, like, gets rid of the coup, like, all of the underlying problems are still going to be here. It fixes literally nothing. So that's not good. Boko Haram doesn't exist anymore. They got folded into the Islamic State of West Africa something, and their leaders were killed off by the ISWAP afterwards. Yeah. The Islamic State West African province. Okay. So what's their current population? 5,000? That's it? Ah, dude. Lake Chad drying up caused a lot of destabilization and radicalization around Nigeria, Niger, and Chad as well. When did it dry up? Wow. Don't like that. Wow, ooh. One of the largest lakes in Africa. Look, you can see the country's borders superimposed over it. Oh, look, guys, it's the northeast province of Nigeria, the place where Boko Haram was most active. And look, now there's like nothing left. All the water gone. So that would explain one of the reasons why this area turned to shit. Everyone's dying of thirst. Water levels have been stable for the last 2 decades. Yeah, but stable at this level, which is a fraction of what it used to be, see? All the blue was water, and now only this portion down here and a couple of smaller lakes have water in it, and the rest of it is just like... green, I assume, means previous water held, right? Or maybe like it's more irrigated than other parts. Yeah, vegetation of some kind. Oh, interesting, Meet Kaiser. Hold on. Where does Niger get its water? Underground water sources, the Niger River, the Komadogo River, and Lake Chad, or whatever's left of it. Okay, 54% of Niger lack access to clean water. That's a good point, Arscarva. Yeah, eco-fascism in Africa seems like a reasonable prediction one might arrive at. I'm trying to see if I can learn anything about... I'm trying to, like, learn everything about Nigeria as quickly as I can. Not Nigeria, Niger, as quickly as I can. Fuck. Fresh water stops violence. Okay, yeah, that's not the information that I want here. MCC Finance Study finds Niger to be most groundwater-rich country in the Sahel region. Okay. Last August, the government of Niger deployed rain-making planes to induce artificial rain to target the country's pastures and croplands vulnerable to a prolonged dry spell. 3 months prior, more than 250,000 Nigerians... Wait. This is the spelling for Nigerians, not Nigerians, right? It's the difference between the E and the A. With an E, it's Nigerians, and the A, it's Nigerians. Okay, gotcha. That's a little unnecessarily confusing, but I won't hold it against them. Heavy rains killing 192 people, destroying more than 30,000 homes. Jesus. Can we... Okay, I want to do the thing that we did before really quick. I know some people think this is unnecessary, but I think this is actually really, really important. I want to look at Niger directly. Well, not literally directly. I want to look at Niger indirectly via Google Maps. I want to, like, you know, it's really difficult, I think, to... God damn. Ugh. Well, this is the remain of Lake Chad. So, over here. Look at how few spots there are here, man. Fuck. Hey, why does it sometimes not do the drop? See, it doesn't let me. Lock on. They need photos? There's a dot right there. You're in the middle of nowhere in the Sahara? Yeah, but there was a dot. Well, one of you has to work. Have these been, like, discontinued or revoked or something? Sometimes the dots don't work. Well, none of these dots are working. Click on the little man, then click on the dot. No? Well, okay, well, this is... Oh, there we go. Well, I am seeing evidence of poverty. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Where am I right now? I don't... You know, it says a lot about the poverty and state of a region if you can't even Google Maps it. Seriously, what the fuck? No, all of these dots are non-functional. I wanted to go out of the cities, but okay, here we go. Laundromat? Huh. This photo was only taken last month. Okay, fine. We'll look at a city. What's the capital? Niamey, right? What a vulnerable place to have a capital for your country. Look at this. Holy shit. This is like the geographical equivalent of having a Resident Evil, like, glowing eyeball weak spot that extends outwards after the guy you're fighting dodges one attack. Like, Jesus. Like, it's surrounded by, like, 7 other countries. Is most of that area empty land? Most of this big chunk of area right here is, like, completely unlivable, I'm pretty sure. Man, even in the capital, there's only, like, a dozen places to look at. Yeesh. That was also taken last month. All right, well, the conclusion that I'm arriving at here is that it's not the easiest place to live. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm just thinking right now, like I was talking earlier about how, like, with the Bayraktar drones, they would be able to target key positions. What would they be targeting? Ugh. I know Nigeria isn't exactly wealthy, but for comparison's sake, look at the Google Maps coverage in Nigeria compared to Niger. Niger is like a bunch of sparse dots over a desert, most of which don't work, and then Nigeria has like a road network layout, you know? Yeah, and they're near water. What a coincidence. Nigeria is way more economically significant. Oh, Nigeria is like leagues, like massively Let me see if I can get like a high up. Look at that. They have the whole goddamn city laid out. Look at this. Not to say it's exactly wealthy. Okay, this seems to be the slum outside of town. They have cars. Yeah, this is about what East Los Angeles looks like. Lagos is the wealthiest and largest city. God, oh man, look, like properly, every road's mapped out. Thriving urban culture, community-oriented, walkable neighborhood. Lagos has one of the highest wealth inequalities in the world. Yeah, it's not going to be great anywhere in Africa, frankly. South Africa is the most developed African country, right? And even South Africa, we've seen, has like horrendous wealth inequality. But then again, I grew up in Los Angeles, so yeah, fucking whatever. Yeah. Or Egypt? Oh, might be Egypt. Might be Egypt. Yeah, some parts of Egypt at least. Huh. Sorry, I'm being kind of aimless at the moment. I'll just sum this up. GDP Niger. $15 billion for Niger, and for Nigeria, it's $440 billion. So Nigeria's economy is approximately 30 times the size of Niger's. All right, well, I think we can safely say that ECOWAS would win very quickly if there was any kind of intervention. I don't know, man. The whole thing is really fucked. Really, really fucked. Man, now I feel sad about Niger and income inequality in general. I don't even want to talk about Du Bois. It's not even on my mind anymore. Maybe I could talk about it next stream. Oh, Sapien or something. This is so cute. Ruben is Lion Cat. Dead Ringer. I love him. Yeah, little bat cat. Wonder where he is right now. Probably zipping around downstairs. Talk about Germany's rise of fascism, though. I don't wanna. Now I'm sad. This is everyone's fault except for my own. I'm gonna read donos. Fuck you. I'm hitting the add button. Let me close these 50 trillion links about everything in Africa is fucked. And we hate Germany. We hate Germany. All right. Let me read these super chats. Benjamin Gilbert Leaf. Generous as always. Thank you very much for the $100. I really appreciate that. Vosh, Google the TYT video on Justice Dem failures / their interview with Marianne. They reveal so much about inner workings of DNC, as well as Anna hints at reason she's moving right. Well, we did just see the one where she was complaining, or where they were complaining about the Justice Dem failures. I don't know if I want to go over their interview with Marianne. I feel like we're really oversaturating the TYT content, you know? Thank you very much. And Brown64, thanks the $2 and the kind words. C. Jinmir, thank you for the $20. It'd be hilarious if reality stars had some union movement, considering the reality TV was invented to circumvent a writer's strike. Yeah, and they absolutely deserve it too, you know? reality TV as an institution and product might be cancer, but, you know, a lot of the people who go through it, who are actors in it, get treated pretty poorly. And like any other worker, they deserve representation. And with the additional $5, thanks. Also, small dollar donos come from sources with less money to donate. Yeah, it's usually indicative of a more like grassroots organizing approach. Benjamin Gilbert lived with the additional $100. My God, man. Vosh, you're wrong about TYT and are seemingly not aware of many important events that happened in the progressive congressional sphere in the past few years. They have a chip on their shoulder because of how they were treated in 2020 to 2021 by progressives and Justice Democrats. Well, I can't really respond to that. You know, I'm referring to what I see in the video. I know that people gave TYT a lot of shit because TYT have taken bad positions before, and I think that they've done stuff that has earned them some pretty legitimate criticism. But, like, I just don't give a shit about people's personal grievances when they're doing analysis on problems like this. You know what I mean? Debate Cenk on Justice Gems. He will say yes if you reach out. But I don't want to debate him on. There's nothing is less interesting to me than the idea of debating someone on like whether or not they should like another person. You know, because this never works out. It was like talking with Brianna Joy Gray about whether or not like they should hate the Justice Dems for force the vote thing. You know, you can make as many arguments as you want, but at the end of the day, if somebody has a chip on their shoulder to dislike someone, that's what they're going to talk about. I'd rather focus on policies, because on policies, you can't weigh things with that degree of partiality. But, you know, in this case, I think that Cenk and I would probably agree on most of the policies that we want passed. It would be like the strategy that bothers me. Or I guess I would just ask him, what do you want to do about it? You know? Like what? Okay, so these are your grievances, and I get them, I understand, but what do you want to do about it, right? What's the strategy? And I feel like I never get a proper answer to that. Kodachrome Railroad videos, thank you for the $2 donos. Yes, a fascist America would lead to some very bad geopolitical outcomes, that's for sure. I'm so tired. I want a 5-hour energy. I hate how they put the plastic wrap around the top of this. It's too hard to get off. I think green is the best color debate. I like red. You twist off the whole top. I've tried that. It doesn't like cleanly come off. Not worth the crash. I don't really have a crash. Debate Cornel West about U.S. tax code. What class are you playing in Baldur's Gate 3? I don't know if I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 3. Okay. Donos. Cadser, with the incredibly kind tier 4 sub, thank you very, very much. Bleh, bleh. Jessica Metal, thanks the tier 2 sub. Illegal Pants, thanks the tier 1 sub. Congrats on re-upping your passport. Always a good idea in this situation. Rug Shitter, thank you for the $5. I am back from the institution, Peepo happy. I had a weed-induced psychotic break and thought I was pussy. Nice. I'm happy to hear that. I hope you're feeling better. Gotta be careful with that weed, folks. Gotta be careful. Fantasy Jorts, thanks the $10. Almost abandoned the idea until the 4th Barbie review video. Ha ha ha. Love him. I am Vnuff. Hell yeah. Thank you for capturing my short shorts. I do love my short shorts. I've got nice meaty legs and I like to show them off. Thank you. Very, very cute. Putting that right there. Hell yeah. Den's Pixel, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. Sake Tanuki with the very kind $12 Gifted tier 1 sub split between 2 donos. Vosh, keep doing leftist advocacy, debate, unintentionally funny, and gaming segments only. Don't ever bend to the will of your massive fan base. Straight hair alert. Did you not get groomed by an LGBTQIA plus community member? Feels bad, man. I asked for something. I went to the barber, who was clearly a homosexual, and I asked, I want to give me a homosexual haircut, but not flamboyant. And I think I'm happy with the outcome, personally. A haircut which is gay but not flamboyant. That's fine. Also, I have pretty short hair. There's not that much that you can do with it, really. You know, keep it short in the sides mostly. Thank you, Sake. Fizzy Dam, thanks the tier 1 sub. Bug C Seagull, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate that. Hey Vosh, have you seen the tanky cat girl who seems to be the person leading LK99 research? Yeah, I saw that. That there's just some Russian girl who's doing a bunch of like lab experiment shit. I don't know if she's a tanky. I thought she was Russian. Doesn't really matter. I hope she's having fun. Fucking cat girls, man. Lucas Probably, thanks the tier 1 sub. RarXD, get jump scared. You got me. Lefty McLefterson with the $20. California zoning laws are fucked, lol. Yeah, I could have told you that. What is this? Silicon Valley Season 2, Episode 5, ferret-loving wheelchair prick of a... You linked a 4-minute, 30-second scene from a syndicated TV show? I can't play that on stream. I don't even know what relevance that has to the thing you said. I don't even know. Couldn't even tell you. Sorry. Hero of this DMCA takedown. True. But I love the effort. And the dono. Lady Oscar, thanks the tier 3 sub. Hello, can we see the kitten, please? Great haircut, by the way. Unfortunately, he's not here at the moment. I would if I could, though I did show him off a little bit earlier. Sake with the 10 tier 1 subs split between 3 donos. Thank you very, very much. For every AOC Omar Talib, JD's had a Ro Khanna. It was a mixed bag from the get-go as the requirements were absurdly loose and the connections between them. But the connections between them and Bernie and others with the new revolutionary wave was never cemented, was too vague to go beyond squad identifiers. I do agree with that, yes. It has always felt like getting in with the Justice Dems just meant getting elected as one and to be considered as one. And then after that, you just kind of sit there and you have like your own thing going on, you know? Not much group organizing to speak of. I think that's a fair criticism. HRC would have appointed justices right of Merrick Garland. The chances that they would have made it through McConnell's gauntlet is laughable. Better not left. No, well, I don't think, I mean, certainly Hillary Clinton wouldn't have been appointing anyone who would have been like voting to revoke Roe v. Wade. I don't think that's very likely. We probably would have seen a light shift leftward in a Hillary Clinton presidency than, you know, we would have expected from her, largely because Bernie Sanders came close to beating her. But yeah, I'm not really sure. It's hard to say. I mean, it's all alternate history bullshit anyway. We don't know what would have happened, really. Hillary Clinton is a loathsome person, so maybe she would have just... Kennedy wouldn't have resigned. Yeah, but if Biden won in 2020, then Kennedy would have had to resign at some point, or die. Like, you know, I mean, he wants to hold out forever. Hamza Prime, thank you for the 5. Marxist Yoda, thanks the tier 1 sub. Palm Tree Nirvana 007 with the $20. Thank you very, very much. Jessica Metal with the $5. When historians review the heroes of Ukraine from this war, this tweet will be remembered. It's been very funny seeing Ukraine try to court like international support for their shenanigans by leaning into the meme culture stuff online, you know? Carl Markey Marks, the 2 tier 1 subs, great equipment / political maps for ECOWAS. Ah, how useful. God damn, man. Wait, does Niger seriously have 0 tanks? That can't be right. No, it's true. Tanks are expensive. Well, I know, but Jesus. Yeah, altogether, this makes ECOWAS look pretty pretty sturdy. 0 tanks, only technicals, Toyota to the rescue. Yeah. All they've got. How many tanks do you have? I'm American, okay? I could buy one if I wanted one. What does Mali's 1 tank look like? That's a great question. Hold on. Mali tank. Can we see the 1 tank? PT-76 in Mali service? But I'm seeing a picture of 2 tanks. That can't be right. One of them must have blown up in between the time this photo was taken and today. Those are not tanks. It says it's an amphibious light tank. Amphibious light tank for all the water they have to travel through. While running around in Mali. One's a decoy. Ah, yes. The other one's just like a painted rock or something. Well. I don't know, Dogma Boy. I mean, nukes are a thing. Unfounded Revenge, thank you for the $5. Maybe this will help with the proper pronunciation of Niger. I feel like I've been pronouncing it just fine. Chat's even stopped doing memes about me saying it.
If you want to pronounce it with an American pronunciation, you should use a hard R sound. And do not use the G in the sound like a G. In fact, we pronounce it more like a J. So when you put it together, it sounds like Niger. But if you're from the UK, you would pronounce it with an open R sound. It would sound like Niger. But if you're from the local language, which is heavily influenced by the French, you would pronounce it as Niger. If you want to pronounce it with
pronouncing it as Niger is the obvious correct choice for so many reasons. It's way less awkward, and also you're way farther away from accidentally dropping one. You're not like a light mispronunciation away from ending your YouTube career if you just say Niger. That's so much easier. And it's respectful to the way they actually pronounce it, you know? They? Nigerians? The country we're referring to? Cathartic Arrest the $5. What kind of mutually beneficial US/Africa collaboration wouldn't be viewed as neocolonialism? Feels like anything done there is viewed through colonialism lens. Well, it always will be. The only way the West could like help Africa in a way that is not neocolonial would be some kind of like completely one-way exchange that doesn't in any way benefit the West, right? Because like it's a reflection of power dynamics, you know what I mean? It'll always be to the benefit of the West to foster economic relations with these countries. So even if we like, it's like how the Marshall Plan was neocolonialism, right? We gave a fuck ton of money to Western Europe to help them rebuild after World War II, but that was also a way of us to like build relations and mutual codependence in order to sort of pull these countries away from the specter of communism or whatever. Even totally beneficial, like good things can still work to benefit us. Does it mean that neocolonialism is just kind of necessary? Neocolonialism is a lot like bureaucracy and a lot like technocratic hierarchies, in the sense that they're unfortunate byproducts of existing power differences that aren't capable of being fully erased, but should instead be dealt with carefully and with good consideration. If that makes any sense. So when I say something is neocolonial, like, for instance, what we're doing with Ukraine is neocolonial. It's not a proxy war. Russia invaded Ukraine on their own. You know, that was their decision. We were an ally of Ukraine. That's not a proxy war. We're just aiding an ally. But it being neocolonial doesn't mean that I don't support the action. It is, of course, building, like, U.S. hegemonic power in the region, right? Hopefully things get better in Africa one day. That'd be nice. We can only hope. Dinoman with the $5. I feel like Duck Company would easily beat these countries all combined just by sheer number of ducks I own. I'm still very sad Seattle Duck is gone. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about, friend. I'm sorry. But I believe you. Prairie Fire, thanks. The $2. Love you too. Chuck Whiskey, the $2. Do streamers deserve unionization? We deserve the world. Iris385, thanks the $5. Vosh would have been proud of Dylan Burns of his debate with Hake today. Hake, anal guy. Oh, I'm sure I would have. Jacob Evans, thank you for the peach emoji and the 150. Captain Eric Darren, thank you for the $5. Check out the news. Biden got Mexico to agree to secure their side of the border, and Mexico is paying for it. $1.5 billion. Really? I'm not sure what news story you're referring to specifically here. Oh, this is from about a month ago. Mexico agrees to invest $1.5 billion in smart border technology. I'll have to look into that. I'm not really sure what consequences that would have. Platonic Liquid, nice try, friend. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Smart border. I don't know what the fuck that means. Also, $1.5 billion is nowhere near enough to secure a border of that size. So I don't really know what they would want to do with it. Yeah, also, the border's not smart. Of course it does, Teal Josh. We blew up the Crimean Bridge again. Russian source, Crimean Bridge under attack by sea drones. There were already several explosions. Shooting is heard. No shot. This is from like a minute ago? Dude. Oh my god. Lights at the Crimean Bridge have been turned off. It's just like every month now, you know? I hope the contractors who are forced to keep rebuilding that bridge are being paid well for their, you know, interminable labor. Jesus Christ. That's really funny, though. Did you see the Tennessee Justins fucking landslide at the elections? Yeah, but that was pretty much guaranteed. Like, he was up for special election in his own district, but like he was, of course he was going to win that. I don't think there was ever a question of that. Look, he's running against an independent too, not even a Dem. But I'm glad he won. Dylan just posted this. Well, if Dylan's posting it, I guess that confirms the bridge is down again. Will they try to throw him out again? I don't think so. I mean, if he does something new. Advertise progressive victory. That's a good point. Here, folks. Remember that in just 4 days, a special vote will be held in in Ohio, to determine whether or not you will be able to protect abortion rights in the state, okay? You guys need to go out there and phone bank, all right? You need to go to progressivevictory.com or !PV or ! Progressive Victory, or whatever the fuck the link is set to. There are a couple of links that are active. You need to go on over there, folks. Progressive.win, all right? And you need to phone bank, or you're a cuck. You understand? Or you're a cuck. I'm currently fucking your wife or mom? I don't know. Something. But the only way to stop me is to phone bank. Okay? It's like a prophylactic against cucking. Yeah. Don't fuck my dog, Vosh. If you don't want your dog to be fucked, sign up at Progressive Victory for phone banking in Ohio. Sorry. It's fucking stupid. This is dumb. This is stupid. This is the dumbest stream. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna host Dylan. I'm gonna host Dylan. Dylan's still streaming, I take it? No! Dylan's not streaming. Do I know what's going on about Kai Cenat in New York? No, I don't, but guess who's covering that? Ariana Jasmine, so I'm going to host her. Then why drink the 5-hour energy? You know, caffeine seems to affect people with ADHD differently. I don't think that's just me making it up. I think that's a real thing. Anyway, my bad disposition was guaranteed because I spent the whole night being woken up by Ruben, who was wearing my head like I had a hat on, you know. So he kept waking me up, but he's very cute, so I don't mind that much. But it does make me sleepy. Where's the button? There it is. I found it. All right, folks. Take care. I love you. Be kind in the host. And I'll see you guys soon. All right? Really, though, you guys need to help with that Ohio stuff. It's neck and neck on the special vote, okay? Get on out there.